Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Isted.
So I basically stopped all rotation and forward motion while going up a takeoff on a 40-foot drop.
So second run, what happened?
I went a little bit faster, managed to get on the brakes, but when I got to the bottom of the landing, I actually sat on my back tyre, so it stood me completely upright. So my weight's all over the front, can't brake again, and I'm just pinballing for dear life down that thing. And I had to actually let go of my brakes halfway through that to actually get traction to survive. Surprisingly, there was someone in a Red Bull helmet that needed to do a second run.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Isted. Forgot the clappy board. Before we get going, mate, I want to feel locked in.
Okay.
I want to feel dialed, but I don't want to feel jittery. So I brought us a little treat, a little Magic Mind.
Nice.
You had a Magic Mind before?
No, but you rave about them, dude.
There you go, Tom. There you go, Ollie.
Thanks, mate.
Mate, super simple. It is a productivity shot. So I've been doing these for a while. Genuinely, what I loved about this brand reaching out was that before you even can talk about it, they want you to do a test. So I did the test.
Nice.
And my partner, Emma, did the test. She couldn't say, like, better things about this company. Like, it really helped her with productivity and focus and reduced stress, she reckons, as well.
No
So that's
way.
pretty cool. And same for me. So the way I've been taking it, in the morning, you have your morning coffee and then you have your Magic Mind straight after.
Oh, it actually says use alongside your morning caffeine or by itself.
And it feels like, you know, when you get a coffee high and it's like you've just locked in, you got like a bit more focus. It feels like that, but for the whole day.
Wow.
And I have these like little jobs that I struggle to do. Let's just even say it's around the house this weekend.
Procrastination.
Exactly.
It eliminates it.
It seems to just disappear. It's crazy.
Wow.
So I'm a massive fan. I'm really enjoying taking it. And hence why we talk about it. Because if we didn't like it, we wouldn't have to talk about it, which is pretty cool. So if our listeners want to try Magic Mind, all they have to do is head to magicmind.com/ride20.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the details will be in the show description. They donate 5 cents for every bottle to mental health charities, and it's a no-risk buy. So if you're not happy with the product, after 100 days, you can send it back and you can get a 100% refund, which is nice.
Can I just say, this is the highest discount off I've ever seen in any offer we've done. They offer 48% off your first subscription with the code RIDE20. That is a lot off, isn't it?
That is a lot off. That's a good deal. It's a steal. It's a deal. It's sale of the century.
Yeah.
But yeah, head over to Magic Mind, read all about the benefits, read some or watch some videos online of people reviewing it. Everything seems to be ultimately gnarly positive. So yeah, huge fan. Looking forward to doing more of it. Been super productive. Everything that we do is going to be better as well. We're going to do better conversations, better everything, better clips. Everything's better because of Magic Mind.
Wow.
How's
Big
that for an
claims.
endorsement?
That is a good endorsement. Nice.
Like Magic Mind. Right, let's get into this conversation.
Let's do it. Mate, you're fresh off the plane from not only Newquay, but from Rampage.
Yeah, got back, well, a couple of weeks ago. Same time
Yeah.
you did probably, but yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the first guy you've had to fly up from in the UK to
Yeah,
come
you
to
could
the
be
podcast.
the first flight over, actually.
Internal flights in the UK, very strange thing, isn't
Yes.
it? Because it doesn't feel big enough, but then also
Yeah.
it is.
It is
Yeah.
from where I live, yeah, it's a bit of a mission.
Yeah, you're right down there, aren't you? And for me, it just doesn't. Yeah, like I said, we said it over breakfast, but it doesn't work for me. It's too far to the airport. I'm right in the middle of the country. Everything just feels like it's a drive away. But where you are, it's actually a long way for me. I think it's like a 10-hour one, probably 8
Probably, yeah.
8 hours. People probably listening to this, if they're not from the UK, might not realise it's actually a big place. Especially if you go to C to B.
like everywhere you go, an 8-hour drive is not really like a big deal, is it? Like you speak
Not
to people
really.
in America, they
Yeah.
just sit in a car, go in a straight line, and they'll go
Yeah.
3
cruise
hours for
control on.
riding. And I'm quite like, I'll have to think about a 3-hour drive to a ride.
That's a
Same.
big plan. That's
It is a bit. It's
With
like-
a couple of weeks of planning to do that.
Well,
I usually get it because I hang out with Pilgrim mostly, a bit like comp events. Oh, you guys must see each other all the time. Like, now we live on either ends of the country and it's a 7-hour difference between us two.
Yeah, Pilg's actually really far east, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
and
he's
I'm as
quite
far
like-
west as you can go. Pretty much.
Yeah. Wicked. Well, thanks for making the effort and coming down.
Yeah,
and
thank you,
And
man.
like, I'm actually really excited because you were a Rampage rookie this year, and I just think it'd be cool to go start to finish from your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd
Okay.
be so
Where do you
fun.
want to start?
Well, what
Childbirth.
What I think's interesting is like
I could do childbirth if you really want to. I have a semi-interesting story that I had to
Really?
had to go straight into emergency surgery and have my cleft lip fixed.
Did you really?
Yeah,
we're going to childbirth.
went straight into childbirth. Yeah.
So we'll start there and we'll work our way forward to the rampage. Hold tight, folks. It's going to be a ride.
Obviously, it's an invite-only event, and you worked hard to get onto the roster.
Yeah, I guess so. But
well, I would say so. I watched your edit, and like you could see what you were up to, kind of. Right?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about the edit.
yeah, well, I think I was on like the short list for like applying for it for a couple of years, but they just wanted to see me actually ride big mountain kind of stuff. And obviously, living in Cornwall, don't really have that. And I wasn't going to spend 20 grand to go to Utah, just sit in the desert. So I kind of timed it that I could be in New Zealand to film it for Crankworx anyway. So I was like, I'm going to be there. And luckily Connor had some stuff sat around.
Sick.
So I could just go kind of rebuild stuff and get it done. So
Connor has quite a lot of really horrible stuff sat around.
I had a few really horrible things. And the one thing that was the last thing that we had to film that ran out of light annoyingly is Connor's the only person who's jumped it. 2 other guys have jumped it. One broke both his legs by coming up short. And another guy ended up in hospital after like going a bit deep, blowing a hand off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a 40-foot drop, but just gnarly one.
So for those people watching or listening who are probably curious how you get an invite to Rampage, what for you, like, what was that thing? Like, how did that happen? So how do you know that you're on a shortlist? How do you know you need to submit an edit? Where do you submit the edit? All that sort of, like, how did you put it together to make sure you get an entry?
I think they kind of look across the board of people who are going to do slope and downhill and who've got a bit of a mixture of backgrounds that are going to want to do it. Obviously, the guys who live in Utah are going to be high on their list.
Yeah.
And I just kept putting a message into Todd every year, kind of like, I would love to come and do this. And he's like, well, add you to the shortlist, you got to do videos, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Went through all that. And they're like, you need to do more big bike stuff. So I did more big bike stuff and went from there.
So it is actually been dictated to you almost from the top.
Yeah, you got to kind of tick all the boxes.
And they're telling you what boxes they want to see before.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's like, not to like exact, like you need to go and jump a 50-foot jump or do this on a set down. You need to go and do this in big mountains.
Okay.
Which is basically what I went to go and do.
Where did big bike journey start for you? If you're spending all your time being that dialed at cash rolls, twisters, double flips, all of these things you have to do for your day job, where did big bike fit in?
Because there's not that many people doing slope down where I live. I kind of ride big bikes more than anything.
Okay.
Like bike parky sort of stuff. But for actual big bike riding, it would have been Loose Fest was the first one I went to. And that was literally still riding BMX. Mongoose gave me a bike. And it was the smallest bike I've ever been on. It's tiny. But yeah, I went to Loose Fest on that and rode there. And then the bug was well and truly in my brain. I didn't really want to look back from there.
Was it? Yeah. So compared to BMX, what was the difference? Obviously, there's a huge difference, but from your perspective, what was?
Well, it was the thing that I got bored of riding BMX was that the jumps didn't get any bigger, and like skate parks were being built, but they had to build it so everyone could ride it. But they wouldn't think of like, oh, if you put this here, you could gap to there, or like they'll build it so boringly. It just kind of like, oh. And it's very expensive to rebuild a skate park. They didn't do it very often.
Yeah.
So it became very repeat. Where with mountain bike stuff, you can go to 25 different locations and it's all different. Where skate parks, especially in the UK, it's all very similar.
I love the idea of like BMX getting on a suspension bike for the first time. Like, what is this?
Yeah. Like when you it says, well, BMX, you run the tyres maximum PSI. So I get on a mountain bike, it says 60 PSI on this side. Well, that's what you run it at. Like, not going to run 20 like everyone else actually does.
Yeah.
Why am I pinging off all these rocks and roots? Oh, yeah. Pointless amount of PSI.
What about suspension? What was that? Did you just get that straight away? Wasn't the problem, or?
No, well, luckily I had one of my good friends at home, Jasper. He was in doing the festival stuff before me. He's like, you're just going to be jumping, so we'll just set it up as slow and as firm as possible. I made it as close to BMX as I could, pretty much. So like 200 mil travel, probably move 100. I'm not the biggest human in the world, so when you've got 300 PSI and shocks and stuff, they still definitely don't move.
So that's Jasper's the Fest connection, the Cornish Fest connections. Jasper, yeah,
it will be, yeah.
And that's like Woody's bike park.
The guy who built Woody's bike park and basically anything in Cornwall that's bike park related, Jasper's had a hand in it.
God, the pieces fit together.
Yeah,
you
they
start
do.
seeing how it happens.
But
don't
then
you?
I knew him through riding BMX.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he was riding motocross as well, and then got into mountain bike stuff as well, and then it all just snowballed. And I got dragged along in.
If you hadn't met him, where do you think you'd be now?
No idea.
Would you think was the BMX? Like, I'm trying to remember. Apologies, but like gymnastics early, is that right?
Bit of gymnastics, yeah, real young. Did like
Yeah.
10 to 12. Sort
And
of
then
thing.
how did you go BMX from?
Well,
did you go scooter?
I was skateboarding.
Skateboarding.
Skateboard first. I was biking before that, and then skateboarding, and then I was at the skate park all the time, and then I jumped on someone's BMX, and
It's so fucking interesting.
yeah.
Isn't it?
How you end up like, you know, we're
just-
going to talk about Rampage, no doubt, in the desert, and it's like you start in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't think you're from a background of people who ride. Is that right?
No.
No.
None of my family
Family,
rides.
parents, nothing.
All like football or
Yeah,
that kind of.
that's so insane, dude. It's so cool.
It is crazy, isn't it? Because you don't think about the road there. When you watch
No.
the live show, you know, if you're watching from home, you don't think about how all of these riders actually get to that point.
And your story is arguably one of the most interesting ones, I'd say.
Think?
Yeah, dude, look where you're from.
Yeah, true.
And
True.
I even watching the broadcast this year, I kept having that, like, especially been down here a lot. You're watching Brendan ride some of those features and yourself. I've not been to Cornwall, you know, riding or anything, but you're like, God, where he's from? There's like 30-second descents, and then you're out in
They are pretty steep
Utah.
descents, though.
Yeah,
We've got some of the best e-biking, I think.
You reckon?
around. It's so good because there's loads of tracks. They're all like a minute and a half long, but
Yeah.
you just bomb back up and do another one. And they're just endless. It's brilliant.
but it's a long way from
long way. But you
You
say
know?
that though, we've got all like the China clay mines.
Okay.
In Cornwall. There's loads of just piles of crap left
Is
out
there
that
really?
you can
Yeah.
kind of get away with building stuff on.
Okay.
There's some good bits that we have built.
Yeah.
It is.
Pole dice.
No, further back up. So there's like in near St Austell, there's all the China clay mines,
Ah, okay.
which are just, they've literally made mountains by just digging out the ground and piling it up.
And what are you saying? China
China clay.
China
It's what
clay.
they're mining.
Okay.
But there's just the old mine pits that are left.
Right. There you go.
Friend of mine,
that.
friend of a friend rents a 250-acre mine for £1 a year.
No
What's he
way.
doing it?
Because it's still
Hang
owned.
out.
Because it's still owned by the mining company. At some point, they'll go back in and mine for tungsten. There's
Right.
tungsten deposits.
Okay.
So at any point, they can go, yeah, get out. We're mining again. So he rents it to drive his powerboat round in the bottom of the lake and wake skis behind it.
No way. That's cool.
Wow, wicked.
Yeah.
So you got used to really big jumps on a mountain bike,
Yeah.
basically. So, okay, so the big bike wasn't as much of a distance away. It was quite early, actually, that Loose Fest, because obviously probably most people saw you on a big bike at Darkfest the most. Well, because everyone saw you at
Yeah.
Darkfest,
Yeah.
because you did the biggest backflip in the world. Yeah. So once Darkfest came around, you were just comfortable that you're a big bike guy now.
I guess so. Not really just a big bike guy. I just want to be a bike guy. I'm not really that fussed of what it is. I'm just definitely not wearing like going to be on a road bike. I know that much. But
Yeah.
definitely just want to ride bikes. And if it's fun, it's fun. I'm going to be enjoying it. If it's not, I'm a bit like, okay, what's next?
So excuse my ignorance, but was there a point where you put down the BMX?
Yeah, I haven't touched it for 5 years.
Okay.
I might dig it out for a skate park session a year, but that's just to go ride a mini ramp and do some ice picks.
Right.
And then I'm just like, okay, cool. This hurts.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Just too physical.
Just
and
impacty.
yeah.
Just there's no give in anything. It's just not that fun.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's exactly how I feel about a BMX at my age. I can't think of anything worse than riding a BMX at the moment.
I've never ridden one. I've honestly never ridden one, so I wouldn't.
Wow.
Even at the trails.
How
Yeah,
interesting.
Oh wow.
Never ridden.
And you've
a
always
BMX.
been around it.
Yeah, always just been goofy mountain biker at the cool BMX trails.
That's right interesting that you've never ridden a
Yeah.
BMX.
But a jump bike to me feels how I imagine a BMX feels to you. Like it's like I love it so much, but it's quite painful nowadays, and like it takes a bit of like a motivation to do it, like,
Yeah.
which I guess is the same.
But you've
like-
got Wisley Trails, so it's
Yeah,
quite a
yeah.
good motivation. I don't. There's 2 sets of trails near me. One's super private, you're not going to get in, and then there's decoy trails.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
But that's still like an hour and a half drive for me.
Yeah,
and then I've got my jumps.
So your BMX career and journey was what? Mainly park?
Park. I did a little bit of dirt, but yeah, I did park. Did all the fees events and
Yeah.
did all those. I used to make like semi-finals, but never really got through to finals. But when they used to do like the NAS festival ones,
Yeah.
I would make finals. Got like, I think best was like top 6 at one of those. But that's like against like the Mark Webbs and Harry Mains and Carl Baldocks and all those lot.
Yeah. Hey, can I ask you, when you first came, when you first saw something from Rampage, do you remember?
Nah, I'd always watch it.
Really? Yeah.
It'd always like, it's one of those ones like everyone always watched Joyride.
Yeah.
If like even in that world, people always watch Joyride. But it was always like the pinnacle one. Everyone like watching the Super Bowl of American football. You're going to watch it even if you have no idea what's going on, just for the spectacle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember what it would have been.
I imagine it would feel quite far away.
Probably the first clip I can remember seeing would have been the clip of Kelly double wheel casing that canyon gap on the flip.
Yeah, yeah.
But like everyone under the sun saw that.
Yeah. I ask you because I'm trying to remember my first one, but I think my first one was Robbie Borden going off the cliff in Sprung, or like it was like Sprung or
that's before my time.
Yeah.
I think mine's Zinc 3. Oakley.
Oh mate, that was
Oakley Sender, they call it. Was it called
I think
the
it
Oakley
was,
Sender or something like that?
Out like the wooden hut.
The 3 I remember is the one.
Yeah.
He flipped off the icon sender.
That's
didn't
what
he?
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and he had a little ramp that he moved in.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, that's wild.
That's what I'm thinking. Sorry.
Yeah, like those like cool Rampage memories.
I don't know what year that was, but that's the one that if I have to think back and think about the one, it'd be that one.
Yeah.
You know. Do you think, looking back, like with the BMX stuff, I know we're jumping all over the place, but it is what it is. Was there a career to be had there? Like we've joked over breakfast about backflips basically giving you a career, like an actual job. But was it going that way?
Kind of, but it would have been. It was pre-Olympics,
right?
And unless you were the Dennis Ennisons in BMX, you weren't really going to be making good, like proper money to like actually afford to do anything. Until the Olympics came along, then people could actually do it.
You think? Yeah, you think the Olympics changed things?
Yeah, massively.
Wow,
but it's like put a big divide in BMX. There's the Olympic crowd, and then there's like the Swamp Fest crowd. There's the core just in the trails with the boys, or there is I'm going to the gym training to go to the Olympics.
Which way would you have gone?
I'd have been on the Olympic side. That's just where I was. That's just the path I would have been on. That was the path
for you. Did you ever get part of that Olympic cycle?
I still know all the boys who do it.
Yeah.
And I'd actually need to go up and see Declan at some point soon as well. He wants me to teach him cash rolls. So
there you go.
But I still speak to them all.
I'd be meant to be a fly on the wall hearing those conversations.
Yeah.
You sort of pull, like you pull for a fronty, but then, like the hardest thing to relate to ever. Hearing one bloke talk to another bloke who understands what he's saying, but you don't understand.
A different language.
We're basically speaking there like, it's not Star Wars or something. No one will understand a word you're saying.
Right, so you're in New Zealand, you filmed the edit, you've done a load of these horrific features. In fact, I want to talk to you about the flip crash.
Oh, yeah.
That is wild on that edit. You're pretty cat-like, I would say, but that is you at your cattiest.
I would put myself as probably one of the best crashers.
Yeah.
On 2 wheels. I'm gonna knock on some wood there, but I'm quite good at getting out of crashes. I think that's gymnastics background. I can work out where I am, what I need to do. But I literally just sat on my tyre,
which is sort of for anyone who does a backflip, it's like the worst nightmare. Isn't it?
So I basically stopped all rotation and forward motion while going up takeoff on a 40-foot drop.
Do you think you could talk through the edit if we watched it?
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah,
I've not seen it for ages.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll drag that up.
Yeah, do that. So when you were filming this, were you like thinking?
This was 2 weeks before. I was filming all this 2 weeks before Crankworx.
No.
So I had this and then went straight to Crankworx.
God, that's a heavy workload, that is, isn't it?
I think I remember.
But I kind of knew what was going to happen at Crankworx, so I wasn't too worried.
Okay, we'll get on to that.
Okay. I had a feeling.
What did you call it? Is it panning for gold?
Yeah.
So what you were trying to do in this edit was prove your worth on a big bike.
Yeah.
So you were trying to do that. You were trying to complete an edit with sort of the most well-rounded.
Kind of just showing that I could ride big bike features and do tricks on bigger features that are going to be more relevant to Rampage.
Sick. And then
without going to Utah.
What does it feel like being driven around? Can we have a bit of a Conor Macfarlane is probably on my top 5 riders list.
Yeah.
Your Conor, who's 33% of your dig team.
Yeah.
Now Conor is.
I would say he's probably more 60. He is an absolute beast.
Dude, this guy is
So he's done
incredible endurance, like cross country.
So he was
rider.
he was a cross country rider and was like on the New Zealand national country team. He's competed in Rampage 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times, and he still just goes for a quick ride, and it'd be like a 60k loop through the mountains on his gravel bike, and that was fun.
And he descends really well as well. Like he did some EWS, I think, and he placed well at EWS, which is like one of the hardest things to place at, because even if you're quick, you have to be ruthlessly fit to actually. So you've got really quite a unit on your team. Yeah. When he's sort of driving you around to these spots, what does that feel like? Is that a nice feeling?
It's a weird one because you're just kind of stealing all of his hard work. That he's kind of built everything. You just sign it up. I'll just add a lip that and just jump it. But
does it feel like a bit of a team effort? So was there like if you get your invite, he's part of your squad?
I already told him even before we filmed this, like, if I get an invite, would you come? Yeah. He's always been on the short list.
Okay. Rad. That's cool. It'd be cool just to like, if you can just riff on it, watching it, it'd be so sick. If that's cool.
Yeah, do that.
We'll have to do it no sound though. Apologies. Okay. Tom Isted, break your sound.
Oh, massive crash.
So that's the 40-foot tyre buzz.
Yeah. So this is out. I would tell you locations, but I don't think people would be very happy.
If you just send a GPX file, we'll put it in the comments.
Put a pin on it. So this, where I'm pushing up now on the video, is actually up by Coronet. Is it Coronet? Yeah, the one literally right behind Queenstown.
It's ridiculous.
It is.
And this is all, again, stuff that Connor's had built and just hidden in the woods. So you basically went up and trimmed it, scraped the takeoffs off and rode them all.
Wow.
That was the first and only 360 I've ever done on a downhill bike.
Is it really?
No way.
Like off a flat drop. And that was at the end of the day, running out of light. It was really windy.
You strike me as someone who doesn't overthink how it's going to be different on a bike, each individual bike.
I do a little bit. I definitely think about it and definitely try and work it out, but it's going to work or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's how I would go about it. That's just out in Skippers, so the one of the third most dangerous roads in the world, and this is just off the side of the road. Just massive screes you can go ride. Yeah.
So how do you adjust to doing, like, let's say we've just seen a tuck hand flip. How do you adjust to doing that on a downhill bike versus your hardtail?
On a bike, when it comes to straight rotations, they're super similar.
Okay.
It's just you got to pull a little bit harder. Yeah. But it spins, it's really different because the rotational weight of the wheels.
It's the rotational weight is the thing that changes the spin, makes it more upright.
So then that's up at Dream Track, which is, I think they're the biggest public jumps in the world. I don't know any other 40-foot dirt jumps that just sit there that you can just turn up and ride.
Couldn't believe them. They're literally dirt jumps as well, aren't they? Ooh.
We all ride them on dirt jump bikes before Crankworx. We go up and have a session on that before going up to Rotorua. Yeah, they are fun.
I mean, I imagine they're quite hellishly fast on a, but then that's what you're riding the whole time. They're not much different,
to ride. Then this is another angle of the crash. I sat on my tyre, but
so again, you literally just buzzed it,
ditched the bike, landed on my knees, and slid out.
Okay.
What's the speed difference in a flip down something like that? Is it just the same as hitting it straight? You hit it straight once?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, go straight, but hop hard.
Right, okay.
And then for the flip, you just do you flip as you're going to do a bunny hop, basically.
Yeah.
Then that's the one that I've kind of turned into my signature, like this look through flip, but on a barrel roll kind of axis.
I loved that on your line, that shark fin that you made.
I hope Deeks paid up.
Oh yeah, what was it? Yeah,
$100
was a bet, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, he bet, didn't he? He bet that it was somewhere else.
So we measured this one out at 70 feet. This step down.
Was it?
Oh, yeah, it's still there. Connor sent me a photo yesterday actually of it. Like, he was on the gondola going up at the bike park, and you can still see the grass where we've like cut the grass out.
Really?
The scariest thing about it is that bit down there at the bottom is full of rabbit holes. So you're like leaning back, like trying not to budge your tyre. But yeah, it's fun.
Well, a convincing edit, I think, and it's quite cool looking back on that, because that got you 2 Rampage, basically.
Yeah.
Would you have said?
I would have said so for sure. Yeah.
So where do you submit? Obviously, you put it online, and then you just say, I put this up.
Obviously, Giant paid for that video, so Giant put the video up. Yeah. And then I think it's like 4 months before Rampage, they send out an invitation email to people who are going to want to try and ride. Yeah. You submit your videos. They give you 2 videos. You can put in. It can be anything. It can literally be iPhone clips that you haven't put up, or Instagram clips if you're riding big bike stuff. You just got to mash it all together and send them a big list. But I kind of wanted to go do a big video in New Zealand. So
do you remember this moment? The email open. You've been selected.
Yeah, because it was the day after Joyride, so I was really depressed after coming last, and then I got, you're going to Rampage. Cool. There we go.
So what's the reaction? What do you feel at that stage?
It wasn't like, it was excitement, but not like I was nervous, but not, so I don't know what the word would be for it, but like, it was like apprehensive is the word I'd go for. Like, okay, I've got a new task that I need to like get used to and ready to go for, and don't bite for more than you can chew. Kind of took a big bite when I got there, but it was all good in the end.
So the Joyride was April. Yeah.
April,
Holy
yeah.
shit. Oh yeah, you forget how
So
early these
I
things
think
finish.
No, so Joyride was on the Saturday, and I got the email on the Monday morning.
Right. So there's a bit of time, but yeah.
Just found out I had a broken toe, so
okay.
it's like better heal up.
So what do you think? You're like, all right, you can't wait to get back to Cornwall, but I also have to prep for Rampage now. Mm-hmm. What was your like thought process? How are you planning on prepping for it?
I just rode my downhill bike loads.
Okay, cool. Where?
I went to Woody's loads, and then I had my new bike for 9s. So I went to Audi 9s on my new bike and just rode a big bike. Mm-hmm. So luckily they got big drops and big jumps. So it was like cool, just getting used to how this bike feels.
Because I always find it interesting.
Very different conditions to Utah when there was 3 feet of snow most of it, but
yeah, that's it. I always find it interesting because like so many people don't have the sort of like it's pretty unique to that area, isn't it? So it's like, how do you?
Well, so there or Spain, there's like one spot in Spain that's very similar, but I don't think you're allowed anywhere near it with bikes.
Yeah,
that's the only 2 places I've seen. Or that place that G went to the other day.
Kazakhstan.
Yeah, somewhere in Kazakhstan. Actually, no, there's a place in China. So I went there for a downhill race I randomly got invited to. That was very similar.
Oh, that looked unreal, that downhill race.
Yeah, really funny.
I saw that Villoni was there, wasn't he? Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, all the Frenchies got shouted at so much because it's like a national park. Like, do not go off trails, and they're like up here on the hill digging stuff. They're like, I wouldn't be doing that in China.
Yeah,
would not be doing that in China.
That's crazy. You got invited to a random.
Yeah, well, because it was when I was still doing fees stuff. There was a little bit of a lap over BMX and dirt jumping stuff.
Right.
So I had my China visa.
Okay.
And they invited me, and I was like, well, I've got my visa. If you want to pay for my flight, I'll come. And they're like, done. I was like, cool, all right.
Rad.
Yeah.
Well, so
and it was the first time Joel had been as well. So I think Joel was quite happy to have someone to fly out with who's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite fun. Bikes didn't turn up till the morning of the event, which is brilliant.
Oh, really?
Good. Baggage, good laugh, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you went so then you were like, right, we need to get the bike ready. Mm-hmm. You went for full 26 build, right?
Yeah.
It looked cool.
You did look cool.
But I still wish we got a picture of my bike next to Bren's bike because the size difference would be so funny.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's like nice. I like the look of tyres, like the tyres on your bike. I like the look of them. They're like.
I think that's because I had such the rims on that I had, those Gibsons, are so chunky. It just made it all look really big and bulky.
Like cartoony almost.
Yeah. Everyone said, I got 24s on. I was like, no. Still got 26, but
yeah,
they definitely look chunky.
Have you always ridden it? You've not always ridden the 26?
No, I just fancied giving it a go. I thought that seemed like a good place to try it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
It seemed to work.
Yeah. And you went for an enduro.
Yeah, well, it's there like, they do it as like a down enduro bike, I guess. Like they do it as an enduro bike, and they do one that's like got triple clamps.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a good mix. And
is it 180?
180 fork, 162 rear. So it's small travel. But like Sorgi's on a been on 160s for years. All the Yetis, all those boys on 160s. So it's like you can do it.
Yeah, there's quite a few,
handle,
isn't there? Yeah.
Handle it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wonder what the benefit is for it to be one like less travel.
Just less weight, and you got less suspension. You can have less spring weight, just the weight of the spring itself.
Yeah.
Linkages are going to be smaller. It's all going to be more compact. It's not like we got rocks and roots. Well, a few rocks, but not many roots to deal with. You can run a pretty stiff bike. So the smaller the bike is, easier it is to spin.
Yeah. It handled everything that you threw at it, including the arguably the clip of Rampage.
I think I won the viral clip of the week.
Like, rightly so. We'll get onto that later on, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's cool I want to hear. So you assembled your dig team, and it was I really liked your dig team. As a
Why
crew.
Joel? Why Joel?
Yeah.
Joel was one of the the first Loose Fest I went to, Joel was there as well for his first one as well. So he got invited through Jasper as well.
Yeah.
So I've known Joel since then. So we've always been riding together. Like we were both semi-working when we first met each other. So we both had these like loads of extra time. Like, should we ride some bikes? He's like, yeah, cool. You're the only person I know who's got free time, so we'll just drive it. I'll drive up to Joel's, he'll come down to me. And I could get in. There's a couple of skate parks that would let me go in when they were closed. So I was like, I've just got my friend to come ride with me, so it's a bit safer. There's 2 of us in. They're like, yeah, no, so Joel would come. So I've just known Joel forever. And he's such a hive of hype. Like, he just keeps the vibe so high, and anything he's happy about it. Somehow he can make light and make joy out of everything. So he's just the best person to have in that sort of situation.
And I guess you knew you were going to go into the darkest, deepest dig hole of being in the mountains covered in dust. So having a hype guy is very
and
important.
he knows my riding ability and like what I'm going to be doing, so he's not going to go, let's go down this horrible section of downhill. Like, he knows that that's not my area of expertise, so he's like, okay, well, I can make it as just something like he knows I can bounce off as well. So it makes
he's an unreal rider as well, isn't he? Like, you listen to what he says.
If I could teach him 4 tricks, he could go to Rampage and do really well. Yeah,
he's so good, isn't he?
I know it's a bone of I don't know what the word is for it, but like, people won't find it very fun. But I think he would have rode Bren's line. Yeah, happily. He might not have done the flip over the canyon gap sort of stuff, but I wouldn't even bat an eye at him going, I'm going to go ride Bren's
he's
line.
Unreal, isn't he? Yeah, he's unreal.
Trying to follow him at Triscombe Woods, don't bother. Just go home. Just go home. He knows where every single route is, and he's doing it at 40 mile an hour and dancing. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So totally. Joel, Connor. Yeah.
And then I had Ian Lean as a photographer, media guy.
And you did a video project with GMBN as well, which is worth watching if anyone hasn't. We'll put the link in the show description because it is good. I watched it last night. It's well good. Just to, I obviously see the process and stuff.
It was a bit hard because they were being dragged all over the place to do other stuff at GMBN as well. Yeah. So there's a few things they missed, which was a bit annoying, but they got to be busy, those boys, to make it all relevant.
It's good for you to have and remember and all that sort of stuff. That's sick.
So you arrived on site. What was that like? First time there?
It's fucking hot. It was when we did the first rider meeting down at the base, and we all just sat there and Todd was going for it, and you could tell the boys had been there for just like, come on, can we go now? Can we go on? And I'm just like sweating. I'm sweating.
It's 40 degrees, wasn't it?
The first day was
so hot.
Yeah. Didn't you turn up like 10 minutes before?
Yeah, after
you literally drove straight into the meeting.
11-hour drive. We turned up 10 minutes before the meeting.
Are you noticing the pattern here with him? It's tough, isn't it?
I wouldn't blame him for that one though.
No, blame Bram for that one.
Yeah, Bren's fault.
So you get to the site.
Got to the site, and finally got up to the hill and actually got to look around where we'd actually be riding. And it's quite hard, especially coming in as a rookie. One side is basically a motorway of everyone's got the line, and they're not really going to be very happy about you going to ride it. So you do feel a little bit pushed. Well, that's why the 2 rookies that were there that year, like me and Luke, were both over on that side of the hill where it was a little bit more open and you could kind of build stuff. And it was obviously where Andre and Brett were, where they used to run it there. Okay. They're not there, so their line's kind of free to be commandeered.
And I guess there is this unwritten rule,
because when we do the meetings,
how do you know? Is there's just a sentiment?
Yeah, you know you're going to get. You're going to walk over to it. Say, "Can I ride this?" They're going to go, "No." Right. It's like, all right, cool.
Okay.
It's not like out bad. Like, they're not being mean to you. Like, they've probably put 3 years on that site. Like, they're not just going to have you turn up and go, "I'm riding that."
Yeah, that's fair.
And do an extra trick. I mean, if you've built it and then you know what you want to do, and then you turn up, your worst nightmare you are. Imagine how many tricks you can do, and why would you share a feature with you? It's tough, isn't it? It's like,
okay. Done the rider meeting. I find this stuff so interesting. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going back over it. You get out to go look on the hill.
Yeah.
Is it like a race and everyone's like out to claim stuff, or what? How does it work?
Some people do, but we all drive out at the same time. So they do one big convoy out, so no people don't just blast out there. Because some people have rental pickup trucks that can only do 15 mile an hour up the road, but some people had like purpose-built off-road buggies that could do 80 across it. Like, you could get up there. No, like the most gnarly one was Zink's one. Zink said he jumped his 60 feet at his jump.
Video.
Yeah. It's just like
It's insane seeing a car in the.
Yeah, really.
We jumped up my one, the one I had on rent. We jumped ours up. We went out to Sand Hollow, which is like one of the best off-roading places in the whole of America. And it's literally down the road from Rampage. So on our day off, we went and drove around there, and we found some big sand dunes, did a couple of jumps. That's quite cool.
Wicked.
But yeah, got up to the site, and then obviously you go, okay, guess we walk up and work out where we're going. And I walked up, so riders left-hand side of the ridge, like where like Zinc and Simon Godziak and all those boys were, and it's so busy. You're going to be crossing lines or touching other people's lines. I'm just like, I'm not going to try and get involved in the politics. I'm just going to go onto her side. So that's why I came over to where Ollie and Brennan and those boys were. Yeah. And luckily found something that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Very cool. What was the first thing you found? When did you know where you wanted to go? After the ad break. Oh, finally, we get to my favourite ad. I think it is probably my favourite because it's the easiest one.
Yeah, this one's easy, dude. If you've not got one of these and you're a mountain biker, then what are you?
What are you, dude? You're probably not cleaning your bike.
No.
You're certainly not. I didn't clean my bike before I got one.
I'm also quite guilty of it, to be
I
honest with
didn't even have an outside tap before I got
a
WORX
not?
Hydro Shot. That's right, we're talking about the WORX Hydro Shot.
Yes.
I use it every single ride.
Yep, same, mate. I'm with you almost every single ride. I'm going to say almost because that's the sort of guy I am. But I do try, and I still keep my bikes in the house, so I do have to make sure she's clean because she comes in the house, you know?
Yeah, there you go. But it is so easy because you've got the power share system. Yep. Obviously, that's the battery that comes out of, personally, my leaf blower, my impact driver, my chainsaw.
Okay.
I can carry on.
I can carry on too.
Please,
we're doing house renovations at the moment, as you know, and I've got a few WORX tools in there. So I've been using a grinder, strimmer, done the garden recently.
Nice.
Impact driver, got one of those.
Lovely, yeah.
The tire inflator.
Oh, I need to get one of them.
That's really sick. Hoover.
The Hoover's brilliant.
And all of it works off one battery.
It does.
It's a dream.
How good is that?
Yeah,
right.
Really clever.
So there's the difference between when I first cleaned my bike with a Hydro Shot. We're on to the 56 bar version, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, mate. They've added some extra power. But it's not too much power.
No.
Which is nice.
It's absolutely perfect. This sounds like just something that you say in the adverts, and I bear in mind this is the adverts, but it is absolutely the perfect amount of pressure for a bike.
Totally.
Don't blow out your bearings.
Not going to blow out your bearings, exactly.
Right, shall I read some information about it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so unlike conventional pressure washers with bulky body unit, mains connection, and garden hose attached to the tap, the new WORX Nitro High Flow Hydro Shot, so that's the difference. It's the WORX Nitro High Flow Hydro Shot, runs on batteries. It draws water from any source. So you can do it from a river in Wales when you're after the bike park. You can do it from wherever. Yep. You can do it. Bucket, pools, bottle, lakes, even seawater.
Bath.
It's ideal for cleaning around the house and patio.
Yep.
We're talking about bikes. I did just auto cue that and just read what it said.
But it's, again, it doesn't have to be used for your bikes.
That's
the cool thing. We use it around the house and outside the house, you know?
And I do regularly.
Yes.
Equipped with WORX built brushless motor 2.0, this high pressure washer delivers excellent performance on powerful cleaning with a 220 litres an hour flow rate. That's a lot.
She's flowing.
Designed compact and portable at only 1.5 kilograms. You can take anywhere you need. It's got a 5-in-1 nozzle, actually also very useful.
Yes, sometimes you want it on the pinpoint.
Exactly.
Clean the patio or something like that. Sometimes you want it a little bit wider. Maybe you're watering the flower beds or something like that.
Absolutely. This goes through all the other applications.
But we know them, dude. We can move on. We know them. And if you don't know them, head to uk.worx.com.
Yeah.
And if you enter the code The Ride Companion,
is that
you're going to get... It is caps.
It's all caps, just The Ride Companion.
Yeah, just The Ride Companion. That's going to knock you 10% off.
Amazing. That's just on uk.worx.com.
Let's do 15% off.
Are you that powerful?
Yeah, we'll speak to him.
You're a podcast
Yeah, well, let's
master.
just do it for 2 weeks. 15% off. 2 weeks.
15% off.
2 weeks, 15% off.
uk.worx.com with the code The Ride Companion, all capitals.
And it's across the whole range, except the robot lawnmower. But everything else. So you could build out your garage a little bit, man. Get yourself a Hydro Shot, get yourself a drill, grinder, strimmer, All types of things.
Sometimes when I feel lost in life, I actually just go on the WORX website because I can't believe they've got that many products.
So many.
If I'm struggling for jobs to do, I'll go on the WORX website and it will actually lead me to the light. I'll find a job to do. They've got so many tools. It's insane.
Tool for everything.
Get yourself to uk.works.com with the code The Ride Companion for 15% off for 2 weeks. I can't believe Davey's doing this, but he's doing it. He's pulling the trigger.
Yep.
Not literally, because we don't want to get the studio wet.
Okay.
Thanks, WORX.
Thanks, WORX. What an ad break.
Yeah, it was a good ad break, wasn't it?
Very good.
Really on the edge of my seat. I really want to hear what the first thing you found that made you know this was your line.
Well, we walked up to where Brett's drop was from 19. He had a big fat drop. And we were looking at it, trying to work out. And I was actually stood on the takeoff of our canyon gap we built this year. And Joel was on the landing of Brett's drop. And I was like, just jokingly just went, why don't we jump from here to you? Because where Joel was stood, it was probably about 40 foot. It wasn't that bad. It would have been like a shark fin landing. And I was like, why can't we jump that? It's not that ridiculous. And the running was good. Like there was a load of space. It would have been fine. And then we were looking at the landing, and then Tyler came over and he said he'd just been sat up the hill watching, seeing if anyone had seen it, and like worked out where it would be, and like saw us looking at it, and he's like, all right. I think he was kind of happy that someone else thought it was a good idea as well. Yeah. So he was like, cool. And then having 2 crews on it makes it so much easier to build the massive landing and everything else. So we teamed up, and then all worked out where the rest went.
That's a good. That's a really nice guy to team up with because I think he's such a Rampage underdog. I was so hyped that he did that he podiumed this year. Like
he's been on the door so many times,
man,
like,
and he always does such gnarly stuff.
And they've pulled one from him before as well.
Yeah,
this is what was a bit weird with ours this year. It's like how long we had to do second runs. They've never done that. Never had a 4-hour wind hold and then had 3 people do a second run.
Right. Never. Usually just call it.
Yeah. Surprisingly, there was someone in a Red Bull helmet that needed to do a second run.
Well, I mean, imagine crashing your first one and having... That's like a worst case scenario for Semenuk, isn't it? Like, he's crashed his first run. He knows he's a title contender. Oh my goodness, the mental strength to be able to just sit there and be like...
He was so chill at the top.
Was
like, he was just like
that's
having a
nap,
just sat, just chilling. Yeah, he wasn't even slightly phased.
I know it was a joke, but do you think there was something in what you just said?
No, I don't think it was something. It was a joke. They obviously wanted us all to do the run, and because there was like enough of us that were willing to go up again, and there was quite a few of the rookies up there, like, we want to give you the chance to do a second run. Yeah. And it did work out that, at least, I think, Tommy G, Semenuk, someone else drop in?
Was it Luke?
No, I think Luke didn't. It might have just been Tommy G and Semenuk in the end, but we were all up there to try and do a second run.
Okay,
but obviously mine was quite wind affected. Wouldn't want to go near that thing anywhere. No. Any kind of wind. And Luke's was very exposed at the top. Okay. So yeah, it was just...
Were there sleepless nights after you built the canyon? Were there sleepless nights?
No.
You actually seem really chill with your testing and stuff, and your approach to all of it.
I can't remember who I was speaking to, but I was saying, like, it might have been Bren actually at the top on finals day. Was like, that was my 8th contest this year. Yeah. It's like, I don't do the contest nervy bit. I only get nervous when I stand in the start tower.
But truly, you don't.
No, I don't.
So truly, you don't.
I slept like a baby the night before. I didn't.
Wow. Because you come across as really chill, even in the testing. Like, I don't really want to be near the testing, especially not like, you know, you're someone I know and I don't want to be around it. I want it to be like you and your crew. I get quite creeped out by it actually. But
there was 30 people still on that landing watching us, so there's like
But you seem really chill. Even like your routine for dropping in is like chill, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just breathing. Yeah. Then a massive drabbing.
Every time. That's interesting.
That's only come from Nikolai, because Nikolai does it all the time, and it's just like coming as a stupid joke. Yeah. And it becomes so far away from actually saying dropping in. Yeah. It's just funny. Yeah.
Did you used to be nervous about all that stuff, or is it something that's come with time?
Well, I've been competing since I was 16.
Yes. So
I've been doing it for more than half my life. So I probably would have got nervous the first few times, but
I get competition nerves, but just nerves just for hitting like just 75-foot canyon nerves. Seemingly there's not as much.
I was more nervous jumping the 110 at Darkfest than jumping that. Yeah. I knew I was going to get to the landing.
On the 75.
I knew I was going to get there. It was just, am I going to be able to stop? That's all I was worried about. And obviously it didn't go very well for the first two.
Kind of
went well for the second one. First one,
second one couldn't have gone better.
Third
That's
one,
the coolest thing I've seen.
Third one, I was basically stopped by the bottom of the hill. By the bottom of the landing, I could have stopped.
Right.
You know, when you've spotted that canyon, the gap, what's the conversation with T-Mac? Like, how do you figure that out?
Well, it wasn't even.
You've got to be both on the same page.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we
landing.
We said, we were looking at going from here to there, to like the side, and he was like, well, I was thinking about going to there, and then as you like walk around a bit more and look at it, it's like that's just a perfect straight line. That makes more sense.
Okay.
It made it bigger, but it made more sense.
Okay.
And I was leaning on T-Max, like, you live here. You know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Do you know him before going into the event?
So when I was on GT, he was on GT. So we know each other through that sort of stuff.
Okay. I guess that makes it a little bit easier as well to have those.
And Tyler is one of the nicest people.
Yeah.
And his crew. The crew, they do such a good job.
Oh,
his line was so trick. Like,
yeah.
It was so nicely built, wasn't it?
Sammy and Colt were legends. They both got poorly as well, like 2 days into the build, so they're all like struggling. But they seem to manhandle it quite well. But Sammy is an absolute legend. Absolute legend. I've got a video on my phone of mine when I did the viral clip of me jumping the canyon gap of him filming it from the side, and I land. He's like, yeah. And then it gets rowdy. He's like, no. It's so funny.
Are you just banking these up, ready to
re-trip that one up again?
Too right, dude. With a moment like that.
Yeah, there's 30 people. That means 30 angles. That's 30, 40 million.
Yeah.
So what did you learn?
Doing any clips the rest of the
say different angles.
So each time you do it, you learn more. I always notice with you boys, especially at the peak of anything, you're like really good at just taking it as information.
Yeah.
So run one ended up with a crash against the bank. You and T-Mac both.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I crashed down the bank. I just had to jump off. T-Mac just stopped on the bank, but I went probably about 3 foot too short.
Okay.
So where the knuckle of the landing was, I landed on the curve of it still. So if you actually watch the video, my back wheel isn't on the floor for the whole landing, so I just can't slow down.
Yeah. Right. So then you have, what's the adjustment?
Go a bit faster.
Okay, and that's, you're starting from the same point on the landing.
Just don't brake as much.
Don't brake as much, okay.
So there's brake drag going into that as well.
I like down the landing is
terrifying.
Not really, because it was brake drag to the roller, and then it was no brakes. So you had like a brake, you had like a checkpoint, like okay, and go.
Yeah,
it was actually. Not
I really liked that about that feature versus the two standout features were that canyon and Sea Dogs and BMWs, and yours. I really liked liked as much as you can with an awful 75-foot canyon, but like I liked that you could check up and like measure it a bit.
Yeah, you could and you couldn't. Like you
no
can't
doubt.
really go. You roll to that roller and you were still braking all the way to the lips. You're still not really getting a judgment.
Okay.
But by the measurement of like where the roller is, where the lip is, and then you went down the whole landing, like the gap.
Yeah.
It added up.
Okay.
But if you saw Sea Dogs, it was a horrible run-in, wasn't it? It was like blind, still blind.
Yeah.
Was yours blind?
On top of the roller, you could see the corner of the landing.
Yeah.
Like with the lip in the middle. So you kind of could see it and like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was enough stuff behind it that was like 2 big bushes. So you like aim between the bushes.
Right.
So second run, what happened? You went a bit faster?
I went a little bit faster. Managed to get on the brakes, but when I got to the bottom of the landing, I actually sat on my back tyre, so it stood me completely upright. So my weight's all over the front, can't brake again, and I'm just pinballing for dear life down that thing. I had to actually let go of my brakes halfway through that to actually get traction to survive, which was quite a quick brain, like, okay.
It was such a long moment.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
I was by the lip and I couldn't, you went out of sight, completely out of control, and then when I saw you roll up the lip, that was the next time I saw that you were all right. So it was like like how many seconds that is of complete free fall down a mountain. Like
it was I come up to downhill. Do you remember his name? Nico Menalli.
Yeah.
Said it was like I got fired out of a canyon into a World Cup downhill track. That's the best way to describe it.
Without wanting to.
Yeah.
But then like straight after that happened, I guess you then in your brain you're calculating, okay, what happened? But unwind it, and then you did it perfect.
And then that was it. Then I did third time I did it was in my run.
Oh, was it?
Annoyingly, I had to stop and walk back up and do it again, but
yes,
then it was absolutely fine.
So
which I think was quite nice for T-Mac as well, because T-Mac only jumped it once before that and had to like stop on the bank.
Yeah.
So I think he was 2 or 3 guys after me to then see me like jump it and completely be slowed down and controlled, and then him go like, cool.
Yeah.
There was an adjustment after your pinball moment though, right?
Yeah, we dug the bank out and got rid of a lot of loose.
Tons,
yeah, a lot. There was a lot where boys were building behind. They kind of just shoved it off the hill, so just loads of loose material. So they kind of just got rid of that.
Right. Okay.
And built a tiny little catch berm on the other side, which if you see in the video, I catched like that much at the top of it. Which if that wasn't there, I'd have been down the bank.
Little things like that, Rampage, are wild, aren't they? They make you think about what you can do to save a run almost. I guess it's like, oh well.
It's a game of inches.
Yeah,
and it's a game of braking. It's the only literally the hardest thing about Rampage is managing speed. Like everything else is kind of windfall, but you just got to try and.
I'd be interested, Ollie. Like obviously, with Tom going out there as a rookie, before or what we're doing now, what would your advice have been to Tom? Have been like, what to do, how to.
I messaged him and asked.
Oh.
And also your approach
can you
was
tell
so
us?
good though. Your approach was so good. I almost wasn't expecting it from someone who's like at the top of Slopestyle. It's quite hard to approach something in like a, not what do I know what I'm talking about, but still your approach was like, I think really good. Like not going and expecting the world, not being like I'm going to absolutely. I just wanted to go. I just wanted to go with the experience of I want to leave this place in one piece.
Yeah,
and I'll do a run that I'm happy with. I'm not worrying about what everyone else is doing. I'm not trying to compete against them. I'm competing against myself, just to get to the bottom of that hill.
Sick, dude.
And do what I was happy with doing.
Do you think that mindset's changed over the years? Like if you'd have gone, let's say 5 years ago.
Not even that. It's 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, Darkfest,
different vibe.
biggest flip. I went into that event with the bit between my teeth that I had to do really well at that event for myself, or I was going to go get a job and ride bikes. Because
I was going to say, what was it that's changed?
I wasn't in a financial position at all then to actually do it any longer. So I had to like make it happen, or go get a 9 to 5. Luckily,
that's a major motivator. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Oh, massive bit between your teeth. Like I am turning up. I purposely went out early to make sure I was there for first hits for Darkfest, so I could go and do shit. Like I didn't ride up the lip of the 110 before I jumped it, because BMV had ridden up it and was walking up to jump it again. I was like, nah, not a chance. I'm going up there. Met him at the start tower. I was like, what, paper, scissors?
Dude.
Yeah.
What do you reckon gives you that sort of drive?
Oh, I don't want a 9 to 5.
The skin. No money.
Skin people don't do fucking 110s. What do you reckon it is but like in life? Is that from BMX contest, or is that, like what is it that makes you that like?
I don't know, just wanted to do it.
There you go, bit of insight.
Yeah.
There must be something though, dude, because it's like it's pretty like, to hear you, I didn't realise that at all. From the outside you wouldn't know that. It's like, I just assume that you like want to do a 110 flip or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, that was like, as soon as they built it, I was like, someone's gonna flip it, and I'm more than happy to be one of the people to flip it.
Yeah.
I knew I could flip that length. Like we were doing one like 100 foot on the 90 for years anyway. You go a bit deep. So as soon as they built that, it's like, obviously the old record was in sight. Could try and do that. And then I did like 107 a load of times, and that just sounded crap. So I wanted 110 and went a bit deep.
And there you have it.
Literally was, yeah.
I know
even on my GoPro, you can hear me. Like I must have done like 115. Like I knew I went deep. Yeah. But I didn't realise I went 10 foot deeper than I thought I was going to be going. Yeah.
I know you guys might have talked about it on the last episode that I wasn't on. Apologies, but like, what actually happens?
Slacker, hiding again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't watch or listen. I'm sorry. What actually happens to your career after that? So like, let's say the week after going into that, few sponsors, not got a bike deal.
Well, it was the main one.
Was a huge thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a bike deal. Was the main one, and that was just breaking me having to buy bikes. Like it was so expensive to buy. Trying to buy a downhill bike, trail bike, jump bikes. Like I was breaking jump bikes quite a lot. Yeah. So I was buying those quite a bit. But yeah, it was the best £300 ever spent, was buying a old Giant off eBay.
It obviously carved out such a cool story, and then signing for Giant. But how did that actually happen then? We talked jokingly about emails coming through from Todd at Red Bull. Like, does that actually happen?
It wasn't like that. It was so one of the old guys who rides Slope called Diego Kawasaki, who's now one of the judges as well. He used to work for Giant and was really good friends with the Giant TM. So he texted me and just go, what's your email address? That was it. That's all he said. And then I got an email from the guy from Giant and then went from there.
Right. Okay. Did you bring other sponsors on as well since then? Obviously
You've
been with
DMR.
Darko. Is it Darko? How do you say
Darko,
it?
yeah.
Darko, yeah.
Yeah, I was on Darko still, and then I was on Abbas helmets, Suntor and Kenda, and then joined DMR, joined Ollie, and then the muck-off deal happened as well.
Okay. So it just makes things basically just a bit more sustainable.
Yeah.
If you look at yourself as a business, Tom Isted Limited, it just becomes a bit more sustainable that you can, you don't have to risk your life to get
still
paid.
do, but it's fun.
But yeah, yeah, you obviously still do. That's fair. Interesting. That's super cool. Super cool. Where were we talking about? Where were we with Rampage? I can't quite remember.
So we're on testing.
Yeah.
We're on testing, and
so I went on a right tangent then.
No, it's great. It's what it is.
Yes, it is good.
What's the Trump one? What's he say? It's the
weave.
I had the weave. I have the weave in there.
A little weave.
I think it's podcasting, isn't it? It's good. It's good, man. So testing. I noticed how chill you were at testing. There must have been things on your line that you were worried about. Surely.
Literally was just that canyon gap. Yeah. And like having T-Mac there as well to like feed off was such a help. And I kind of knew that it would just be me who's going to be the idiot to test it.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you rock, paper, scissors, or is it just...
No, he just was... He started on the shelf above me, starting on where Bren jumped up to. He started there and dropped in.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in the way.
Right.
So it was I get out the way or I jump it, so...
He's so dialed. I really noticed how dialed he was, like, you know, with his braking and stuff, he's really so it's a good person, I think, to have to like knock ideas.
Well, you can see his house from the site, so he's pretty local to it.
Yeah, really, you can actually see it.
Yeah.
No way. Crazy. Yeah. I would say that's a good guy to share a feature with. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What a feature.
Yeah, the sickest feature. So you go through testing. What was the digging process like for you as well? We didn't even talk about that. Really?
That is. If I didn't have Connor there, it would have been an absolute nightmare because he's been there, dug there before. He knows the process that you have to water rake 15 times to even get any water into the ground to actually make it packable.
Yeah.
Which me and Joel were like, oh cool, yeah, we'll just water this off and pack it in. And it's like a crust of an inch, and it falls off. It's like, oh,
yeah, it's such a mission, isn't it?
Yeah, nightmare.
Right.
I think it was even worse this year as well with the extra heat. I know it sounds stupid because it's like
hotter than
5
normal,
degrees, but yeah, I mean it was 40 and it's not normally, I don't think.
I was so happy it was shady in the mornings.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to like pick areas to work in so that you stay in the shade. It's
that was the thing, because we were very close at the top where I had my little shoot and den. Bern had his like shelf thing. I don't really know what you even describe it as, but that was in the shade for quite a bit of the afternoon.
Right.
So you'd go hide in the shade in the morning at the bottom where it's going to be in the sun in the afternoon, and then run up the hill and do the top in the shade afterwards.
Tactical.
I think we rebuilt my run in about 3 times. Mainly because it was hiding from the shade and because these idiots kept kicking dirt onto it.
Oh mate, it's constant, and we cleared it a lot of times as well. And like ours got filled up as well. It's really hard. I think if you're on the new side of the hill, it's way harder because nothing's like established, and it is difficult, isn't it? I feel like as well, like everything you touch when you're on the steep bit
just disintegrates below you.
Yeah, it's rubbish. Sorry for that though, by the way.
You've obviously done like loads of big events as well, Crankworx, Joyride, Darkfest, all that stuff. But what is it like not race day, comp day, helicopters, you're in the desert, loads of people. What was your vibe like?
There's less people there than there is at Crankworx. It's quite quiet. It's just, that it's on ESPN. It's quite a lot of people watching behind the scenes, but I'm very good at just going, okay, I don't care about any of that. I'm doing this. Yeah. And I just turn it off. And
do you work with no?
No, never done.
You don't know what I was going to say?
I know some of the boys do the mental coachy sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I know a few of the boys do and had them there, and I just don't turn your brain off.
It's pretty unique. That's pretty cool, that is. I don't think that's like... I think there is the most crazy it can be. Surely.
It must be, yeah. It's still quite scary when there is a helicopter sat there with a camera on it, which is a bit overkill. There are drones these days, boys. Come on. Don't really need a heli, but...
I think the other thing is like when you're watching on TV, you know, the crash holds or whatever, like Zinc when he came off and then they helied him out.
That heli pilot is a absolute gangster.
They're really
he literally came in and landed on a takeoff of someone, but not like really landing on it, like hovered, like touching it, and like just kept his skid on it, and it's like, okay, load him in.
And there's zero visibility because obviously the dust is like crazy,
right,
so they are very impressive, aren't they?
Wow.
And there must be weird stuff with the hot air and that.
It must be, yeah. I remember watching a podcast. One of the guys who basically just gets diggers out of holes to get stuck in. He's one of those guys on YouTube. They're so fun to watch. But he's got a Black Hawk helicopter for no reason.
Heavy D Sparks.
That's the one, yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
And he says when he's flying his Black Hawk, when he gets close to the floor, everything inverts because of the downdraft.
Right.
So you have to, at a certain point, you have to flip what you're doing and do it opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big old unit, that is. They're actually very impressive. Apparently, actually, there was the heli pilot for the camera has been the same. He was like 70 last year, and he's just passed on the job to his son or something.
Oh, no way, that's it.
Yeah,
no
so they
way.
just used the same guy, and he was just like an old guy, and he's just retired. So the new guy did a great job.
I bet he was co-pilot, just sat there watching.
Yeah. No, too close. No,
Back up a bit.
But I think the pauses seem just annoying when you're watching, but when you're actually there, I think they're quite that's quite horrible. It must be horrible for you.
It's more just being completely cold and then dropping in. Yeah. That's the thing that's hard. And there's not anywhere up there you can just go, I want to go just do pedal around in the corner and just get my body warm.
Yeah.
It's just boulder field, so you can't even do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was with Connor just before your run, and obviously there's loads of things that you just want to it was so good seeing how useful he was there, because he knows exactly how many people that's the stuff you don't see is you have 4 people before Bren's run. I had to water everything.
Yeah.
One bit really heavily, and then Connor was there doing it just before he had all his timings down.
Because what was Bren, 2 or 3 guys before me, I think? Because I was 8. What was Bren?
I think how many people were in it?
No, he was 4. He was
he was way further up. Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So I was sat up there with Connor, and then he was like, right, that's me.
Oh, right.
Down, so dialed.
He was so annoyed that I did a second run just because he had to walk back up the hill again.
I bet.
And find water to try and water stuff.
Yeah. After a 4-hour sit-down lunch.
Yeah.
Was it that long? It was a while, wasn't it?
It was a big time. And the thing that I find a bit annoying, and I can understand why they do it, but there must be a better way to do it. They pull all the hoses the day before.
Right.
So you have to I didn't know this information, that they do that. So I would have gone to a hardware store and bought buckets and stuff to stash water everywhere. But I didn't know that. So the last night everything's closed, you can't go and buy buckets and you can't fill them up because all the things are pulled off. So you're
that's crazy that they bring the water in.
Yeah, it looks quite an eyesore. Yeah,
just the visual of it.
Buy brown hoses and you won't see them.
Well, I just kind of thought they can't look that bad, but then I spoke to someone. I think it was Clay who films. I think he was saying actually it looks so bad on film, having all these black lines all the way down the hill. It stops it looking like what it is.
Yeah,
deserty.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Right, I've got here in my notes. I got here. Basically, I want to hear the plan for the run, the kind of run that never happened, nearly happened but never happened. What was the?
Well, do we do what I would have done for my second run?
Please, dude. I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
So you went up there with.
I run in mind that I wanted to do.
You wanted, yeah.
And as it was I've got nothing to lose now. I may as well try and do something. But it would have been because I flipped the first step down in the first one. I was going to flip techno hand of that, which I would do with my eyes because I do that in slope runs every day. It's fine. Then it would have been the same all the way to the canyon gap, and then it would have been a flip 1 foot can on that white jump in the middle, and then down the ridge, off the drop, barrel roll off the drop again, that shark fin thing, and then it would have been I wanted to do a front flip techno hander on the last jump. That was going to be the plan.
It's quite some run. Dude.
Yeah.
You say it. The way you say it is
quite nonchalant, but
yeah. Each of those things, actually the white jump in the middle.
Oh, it was the hardest thing on the hill for me. It was so hard to judge for speed.
Yeah, I saw you do the flip test on that first thing in the morning. I think.
Yeah.
I always have
flips for breakfast.
Maximum respect for the testing, and on the day riding, to get your knee pads on and be motivated to do it is so impressive to me. That is more it's almost more impressive than a finals run, because a finals run you can be hyped up for, but just being with 3 people, a filmer and 2 diggers, and you're the one that's got to put the helmet on, the knee pads on.
Yeah, that's what Joel said. He found it the weirdest thing is I've been building for 2 weeks on this line and now I don't even get to ride it.
Yeah.
Just what have I been doing for 2 weeks? Just sat in the desert sweating.
And you don't get to join in or anything.
Yeah.
And there's moments where you're you would almost rather join in than sit there. It's horrible, isn't it? It's
I think Connor was quite happy I didn't do my second run though.
Right.
Because he was stood at at the canyon gap and just watching the wind flag spin on the spot, and like it wasn't settled at all. He's like, if this was 5 years ago Tom, he knew that I would have been dropping in no matter what and jumping it. I guess slightly older, slightly wiser.
It's a crazy thing to obviously have all that, the pressure, the big event and all that, and to not do it. I think it's more admirable than doing it, isn't it? Feels like that to me. It's like more respect for you for not dropping in than actually dropping in.
If I drop in and spanning myself, then what do I get out of it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
there's risk to reward, and the risk to reward wasn't. If I could have done the perfect run, then it would have been amazing. But the chances of falling in a canyon isn't going to be.
No, it's not fun.
The canyon was extra wind sensitive as well, wasn't it? Like the amount of time you're up there and the speed you're going, pretty horrific. Hey, I
30 mile an hour off the lip. Just because it says on the GoPro, you do the GoPro GPS thing.
Yeah.
And it said 30 mile an hour off the lip. So when I did the rowdy shoot one when I messed up, I didn't slow down at all. I did I think I got down to like 25. At that point, just couldn't slow down.
Oh my goodness. I was watching Janon's team, Paul and Louis, and they obviously have, I think you had 8 minutes for your second runs.
Yeah.
So you're just sat there wishing for the
wind to die.
Yeah. And Tommy G's up there, and obviously they're really close mates, and they're just stood there where he can see them on the
ridge and before the big drop, wasn't it?
And I think it was quite a horrible situation for them, because he got literally, I think, to the last seconds, and then I think Paul was like, I think the wind has actually dropped a tiny bit. But obviously it changes the whole time. It's just such a horrible
But for me to get from the start to the canyon gap was like a minute.
Yeah.
Because I had a bit of a traverse to get to, which is one thing I was annoyed about.
It changes surely as well, right?
Yes, it would have changed by the time I got there. So if it dropped, cool, drop in. I get there and it's going to be completely sideways.
Yeah.
So it was just luck of the draw. If I dropped in and it was good.
Yeesh.
Which I kind of wish I did drop in and just rode to that point and then made the call. Because when I rode into the hip before it, I can see the flag. So if I could get to there and go, oh, the wind's good. Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like I did the right manoeuvre just to walk back down.
For sure. Sounds like it.
Good.
Were you stoked with...
I was, couldn't be happy.
I can't remember where you ended up finishing in the end.
Oh,
did it matter to you or not?
I came second to last behind BMV and Zinc, maybe.
Okay.
I think.
I can't remember. Obviously Zinc was at the bottom, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many injuries were there this year? Actually, it was
only BMV, not BMV. Yeah, BMV concussion.
Sea Dog.
Yeah, BMV. Yeah, Sea Dog and Zinc. Yeah, I still can't believe Sea Dog was there on finals day, walking around.
Yeah, it's a crazy crash.
Yeah, dislocated his hip.
Oof.
So they usually say the only way to do that is in a car crash. That's how bad it was. Have you seen the clip of it?
No, I don't think I have.
So his chute came down, and where all the boys were, so obviously there's loose stuff getting locked in, and he went slightly offline to some loose stuff, and his front wheel disappears to the disc, like deep into dirt, so it literally just gets catapulted into the berm and stops dead.
Oof. Yeah, it's a full dead stop, isn't it? It's not nice to watch.
Maybe I haven't seen it then. No.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's not the nicest one.
No, and it's horrible to have all that build-up. That's that all happens in the build-up is wild, isn't it? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too wet for it. I have to go back now, so it's all right. But to me, it does like. I remember. I think.
Oh, you wait. I'll get Joel in. Who can call you up to be in the stick team?
Yeah, Bingeli, I think.
Neil Bingeli.
Logan Bingeli came off and had a femur fracture.
Right.
And it just struck me a really long time ago. This was on the Icon Centre or something.
Okay.
It really struck me how quiet the hill went, and it was just, you could just hear him screaming. And I was just, thinking, I obviously I don't have to drop in, but I was with a load of people that had to drop in, and I was just thinking, this is pretty unusual scenario to just be like, right, let's go to the top.
Yeah. Well, you do that for slope as well, though. The first time I did Rotorua was the year that Tommy G dislocated his shoulder on the takeoff. So he did an Oppo 3 tuck, and as he took his hands off, his shoulder came out. So you're in the air doing his hands are both off the handlebar, and his shoulder comes out of place, and he's got to try and get something back on and eat shit. But he's 20 feet from there screaming, and you're like, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's tough.
Tough way to make a living.
Slope. I've got a question for you after the ad break.
Ollie, mate, what is the ads? What are you doing?
Well, I didn't think I'd have to stop. It's so quiet.
I know you've been riding a lot and you're really trying to focus on recovery, but you can't always be recovering, can you?
I can if I sponsor this COMPEX and you got the Fix 2.0 and I'm making my legs feel better.
Oh, mate.
Honestly, this thing is incredible. It's been helping me out loads. I've been riding a lot, and this thing, I get home and I just use it for recovery. You can use it for before as well, though, right?
You can, mate. Yeah, the COMPEX Fix 2.0 Master helps warm up muscles before a workout.
Oh, nice.
And relieve stiffness after a hard session. Okay,
that's what. That's what you're using it for. Yeah, I've just finished a hard session, so
yeah, it has 5. Ollie, it's my favorite tool as well. All right, the COMPEX Fix 2.0 massager helps warm up muscles before a workout and relieve stiffness after a hard session.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got 5 powerful intensity settings.
Oh yeah, it has. That's done with this dial here.
That's done with a
it's
dial.
Really good. Yeah.
Paired with a high stall force will give the intense pressure needed to help relieve the toughest spots safely and comfortably.
Hey, I want to point out that the stall force thing is really important because when you're pushing down hard, really getting in those difficult points,
nooks and crannies,
it's not stalling. And some of the other ones, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Not only did I buy them off Amazon, they stalled and then they set my house on fire. Oh. So you don't want that.
No, mate, you don't want that at all. It also comes with 5 interchangeable tips.
Yep.
Okay, and a rotating arm helps tailor your massage specific to the needs of different muscle groups. Okay. Yep. It has a removable and rechargeable batteries, a compact design, and a quiet motor help provide relief anywhere and everywhere. Okay, so you can bring your inner pro with the Fix 2.0 massage.
That rhymed.
Gun. It did rhyme.
Just saying that rhymed.
It did rhyme. But yeah, honestly, dude, real life experiences. I use mine all the time. Post-ride, pre-ride. I just love using the COMPEX Fix 2.0.
Do you know what I found the other day? I was at my physio. Everything he had was COMPEX. I really liked that.
Mate, yeah.
It's really good.
Chosen by professionals.
Yeah.
And they do loads of other stuff too. So check out compex.com. All right. You can look through all of the different recovery tools. They've got
muscle stims. I've been using the muscle stims.
Yeah, they got the core belt. They got this ankle protection. You need some of that.
Need it.
Wrist protection. Maybe need some of that.
I do now.
Yeah, loads of stuff.
I'm gonna get COMPEXed up, dude.
COMPEXed up.
Hey, do we have anything to offer to our companionship? Because I do like it when we finish ads on an offer.
Yeah, we got to finish on. Hey, it's a big offer too, mate.
Is it?
Yeah. So if you head to compex.com, enter the promo code The Ride Companion.
Okay.
What is it?
The Ride Companion.
All in caps.
Okay, nice. I was about to ask.
We're going to knock off a whopping 20% off.
20%?
20% off. Now, if that's not a deal to get you recovered, ready to ride through spring, then I don't know.
Hey, you
Can't
might
do any better.
You might get 20% off, but you're going to be 100% satisfied with the product, let me tell you.
Oh, and on that note,
that was nice.
Thank you, COMPEX.
Thanks, COMPEX.
Great ad.
Really good ad, Dave.
One of my favourites.
Really good. They're all so good, to be honest.
Yeah, that was a great one. So we were going to talk slope, and an interesting year for Slopestyle.
Very interesting.
Especially at the start.
It was a very busy start.
Quite a hot topic at the moment, I think, with a lot of changes in biking, and I feel like the slope guys led a change. It looked like from the outside.
We had a change. Yeah, I don't think anything really changed in the end.
Okay,
to be honest. But
yeah, honestly, I haven't really spoken to anyone that much about what happened after the strike in Rotorua.
Yeah. So the strike was literally, we just wanted it to be actually financially viable for people to go to the event. Because they were trying to make it so like the alternates, who are going to be the next generation, were having to pay for your flights, pay for your own accommodation, pay for your own food, pay for your transfers from the airport to Rotorua, which, as most 17-year-old kids, who has a spare $5,000 kicking about, which is about how much it would probably cost. Not many.
Okay.
I can think of.
Yeah.
Unless you've got some parents who are very willing to pay for you to go.
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't have been able to have done it. I know I was struggling to do it when it was just paying for flights, and I got picked up in hotels.
It's interesting thinking back, because this was such a hot topic at the time. Obviously, it's almost a year on from when this happened, give or take. It's about 10 months, isn't it? So it's interesting to think back at, I remember I guess like the internet and the diversity, I guess, would you say? Like people were on athlete side, but then people were also, it was very much like, I wouldn't say it was torn in the middle, but definitely went one way more than the other. But yeah, it's interesting to think back at that. And
we came to an agreement at the end, but it's personally, I'm not very happy with it.
Okay.
Because it's they've brought in this thing called the stipend system. So they all cover our flights to get to the events. But if you then win prize money, you then have to repay Crankworx with the prize money. So you don't pay as much taxes, I guess, on your end because you're not coming out of your prize purse, out of your actual earnings as a person. But you lose out on the prize money in the long term.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one.
Can we unpack it a bit and go back to like when it first kicked off? Because I think that'd be interesting. So who led the discussion? Who was the first person to?
There was talks in our like the main group of Slopestyle guys.
So you have like a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, there's a WhatsApp group of like the top 20 or the main guys that are going to be in and around, and even a couple of the alternates that are going to be in the next couple of years or even at the end of this year. So they'll have to see what's going on. So don't turn up to like, oh my god, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
So someone first mentioned it in there.
Yeah, it was spoken about like we need to do something, need to say something, and like they wanted to put a statement out way before, like in like this sort of time 2023
it'll have been,
yeah. And I was like, if you do that, they'll come up with a reasoning way before that, and we'll end up nothing will happen. They'll just say no, not going to happen. The only way we can actually make them do something is to do it on the day, first day of practice. We're all there, sat there. They can't go and find another 15 riders, because that's all they would have done. They said, you guys aren't coming, we'll invite the next 15 riders. So it's the only way we could get like almost back them into a corner to try and get them to do something, which they have done something, but they're claiming that that's as much as they can do. But I have sources that tell me otherwise. So
okay. Obviously, I don't know. I have no idea. I just feel like, again, from the outside looking in, looking at the state of the economy, the state of the sport, the state of all of it at the moment, it seems to be quite a turbulent time, you know, looking at everything that's been going on. And I've had this thing, I think we spoke about it on the last episode, about it's felt a bit negative. It's quite, I'm a little bit apprehensive about talking about this, but it is something that you've been going through and we should talk about. But
and I've been on probably one of the forefront of it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And rightly so, if, you know, standing up for the sport and fellow athletes and whatever, rightly so. But yeah, it's definitely felt a bit weird recently talking about this sort of stuff, and I wouldn't know the state of Crankworx and what's going on. They just released a 2025 schedule. Yeah,
it got scheduled.
3 stops now.
It's no Innsbruck this year.
No Innsbruck.
And then they've got the summer series as well, which annoyingly, really annoyingly actually, they've put there's a gold event in Christchurch before Rotorua.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that they knew when Proving Grounds was going to happen, and they put it on exactly the same weekend. So there'll be 2 events going on in New Zealand the same weekend. One in Christchurch, one in Queenstown. So
Proving Grounds is the women's.
No, Proving Grounds is like basically it's Todd Barber, the guy who runs Rampage, and what's the skier called? Snowboarder.
Oh shit! No, it's not Proving Grounds. It's called Natural Selection.
Natural Selection.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's on the same date.
Yeah, same date. So you pick which one you want to go to.
Right. For you, which one's more important?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one to do.
Okay.
But yeah. So
natural
that's
selection.
like it's just
we spoke about this recently about
it's just
what that
frustrating
is.
for people like myself who would do both quite happily.
Yeah.
Because Proving Ground National Selection was date, they knew the dates. Crankworx knew the dates, and they still put that date. So if they did it a weekend after, then it would make sense. And the timing works out that it's like one trip for people, not like a 3-week gap between. Like you're not going to have to. Oh, you got to go book a hotel now for 3 weeks to sit around in New Zealand. Not that it's not a bad place to be.
Yeah.
And there's not nice things to do. It's just like that's another massive chunk of money people got to cash out. But yeah, it's just a bit frustrating.
Okay.
And then,
So the state of Slopestyle after the strike, would you say it improved?
It definitely.
Did you have a better year at it after that, or
it was? They realised that they had to speak to us more and like tell us what's going on, give us an actual voice in what we're doing. So I was actually myself and Emil and Griffin Paulson and there's 2 of the girls, I can't remember who the girls were off the top of my head, were kind of in on some of the board meetings with the FMB.
Yeah.
So if anything happened, we got to be the rider representatives. I'm not doing that this year just because it was very taxing and I couldn't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
So I think Nikolai's taken my spot.
How do you mean taxing?
Just when you're at the events, you would still, the ride representatives, everyone will come to you, then you'd have to go to Crankworx. It just took up chunks of time, and like if people were moaning about the course, they'd come to you to moan about the course. It's just
it always strikes me as a bit of a tough one. Being the rider representative is really hard, eh?
It can, sometimes it can be really good. Like sometimes if it's all perfect, you don't do anything. But sometimes if it's windy, then people are like, no, I'm not going to ride. Not in that voice, but they don't want to ride. I get moaned at the most because I live in Cornwall and it's really windy and I ride all the time. To the point that Whistler, not this year, but last year, we were on another like 6 hour wind hold. Everyone bar me on a 6 hour wind hold because I did lap every time I got to the top of the hill. I just kept riding all day. I had a €600,000 or dollar slopestyle course to myself, which is quite nice. 50,000 people watching.
Our opinions are always split. Like, what's the percentage? Is it always really split, or is it normally everyone has the same?
It's usually we're all quite grouped together. Yeah, this is what's happening. But I was still with them. Like, I'm not going to drop in for an actual contest run until you boys are happy. But I'm willing to ride now, so I'm going to ride my bike. You might find it annoying, but
Cornish wind.
I'm just trying to. Even if it was my run and it got windy, I'm used to the wind conditions.
Yeah.
If you've sat around all day not riding your bike for 10 hours and then, okay, go. At least even if I can ride the first 5 features and be warm on my bike, it's going to be better for me.
It's so interesting. It was cool, obviously, to see that the athletes all banded together and it was a joint thing. That was cool. And I think seems to be what's going on in other aspects of mountain biking, especially in downhill and whatnot, is that
it's a lot.
They can't seem to get that thing together.
Because there's only there's 16 of us from the men's side. It's such a smaller number to deal with. Where with the World Cup team, World Cup stuff, there's what is there, 60 riders plus all their so many people. There's a lot more people involved. Like we haven't got a team there. It's just us.
Yeah, we
might have a person with us. That's it. It's not as
so the overall message and what you were going for was trying to get
support for the people that don't have the support. So like myself, or like the Nicolais, the Emils, the Fedcos who have travel budget, who can just go, cool, I'll book a flight's fine. Who don't get that, just to help them get there, because they're the future of the sport, and if they can't get there, there's no future of the sport.
Okay, so the ideal thing for you, what would you change now in slopestyle out of interest? Like, is it?
Well, they're trying to change it again now and trying to make it so we have to do qualifying. Yeah,
you were mentioning.
So they want it. I don't even know if I meant to be mentioning this, but I don't deal with it. Darren, you've got my number. If you have an issue, call me. That they want us to have the 14 riders and then do a qualifying, and it goes down to 8 riders for finals.
Right, at the main event.
At the main event, which is like, I know they want the broadcast to be shorter and shorter and shorter, so it's just going to get to the point there's one rider. And what's the point in that? Like, it's hard to make a career out of doing it. And the main event that people want to be involved in as companies is Crankworx. So if there's only 8 people can actually get on the main show, it's going to make it very hard for people to make a living out of it.
What is the root problem, or like what is like? Okay, let's not focus on problem. What is the solution? What would be a solution that everyone would be happy with? Like, does it really take like a rider to start an event for it to even?
The main issue that we do have is, so Crankworx is one thing, the F&B is a different thing, but they're owned by the same person. That sounds like a bit of a monopoly, if that was me.
Okay. So the solution is more.
I don't know what the solution is really.
Yeah, but that's what's so hard, isn't it?
Is that just the problem with like quite a niche sport?
Yeah, it is a niche. It is a very niche sport.
Yeah,
it is. There is competing wise, there's 60 of us that compete, but there's hundreds of thousands of kids who ride dirt jumps who just can't go to the events or don't want to go down that route.
Yeah,
but obviously that is one of the main shows at Crankworx, if it is not the big show at Crankworx.
Yeah.
So we should be getting something back for it.
It always feels chicken and egg, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It always feels chicken and egg.
It's interesting to talk about it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Interesting.
The best way that I describe it, and this comes from Yannick Graneri, I remember for this one from this, there is no circus without the clowns.
Yeah.
They're not going to get a paycheck if we don't turn up.
I think back in the day there was the Qashqai series, and there was a huge investment from one company, Nissan, specifically for the Qashqai series. And it made it possible, and it meant that from from every level, everyone was happy. So you've got all of the event organisers, they also need to turn a profit, and then you've got all of the track builders, all of the athletes, like everyone had appearance fee, there was good prize money on the line. It was like, but it did take that one big sponsor, like headline sponsor, and it's like, how can you? And with that also has problems.
Yeah.
You know, like as soon as they pulled out, it disappeared.
So
So
obviously,
it
wasn't even sustainable because
it's so difficult to like work out what the dream solution is.
Yeah, and obviously we've got Red Bull's the one that backs all the Crankworx stuff and all the Slopestyle stuff. So without them, we wouldn't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think they'd find another title sponsor. I don't know. I think that's what's interesting. People now are starting to...
Because you don't see behind the scenes, and even us in our sport, we don't see behind the scenes of how it runs. We don't know what goes into it, of the sponsorship side of it, and what they're getting or what's going on. So it's just like, are we getting...
That seems to be...
We don't even know. You don't know. Yeah, we don't know if we're actually getting really well paid or we're being screwed over. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
Without transparency, you're never going to know. Like in the world of like football and everything else, everyone knows everything. Like you know how much the transfer window is, you know how much they've got to spend, you know how much this is going to be. Where we don't know anything, which I don't think they will ever do that.
About like the UFC and Dana White, for example, doing press conferences and this and that, and
owning ownership sort of thing.
Definitely. I don't know if he talks too much about money, but like you say, with let's use football, NFL or whatever for an example, you know how much that athlete's getting paid. You know, you kind of know how much money they've got to spend in a window. But like you say, there's a lot of hidden stuff with mountain biking.
Not saying that running the Crankworx events aren't cheap.
Dude,
they are so expensive, and trying to manage that, and to be fair to them, it's a small crew that does actually do all the Crankworx. The amount of work they do is amazing, and I don't fault them for that at all. It's just...
And this is the problem. Without them, then what?
Yeah. But then...
So you're balancing this thing all the time, aren't you?
But without any transparency, you don't know.
No circus? What is it? No clowns, no circus?
Yeah.
No circus tent?
Yeah.
No clowns?
Yeah.
We're just in this triangle.
Yeah.
Clowns look like right nutters on the street, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, street performing then, aren't you? Yeah. Literally riding street, doing vlogs.
I quite often will hear a figure and I'll be horrified and I'll be like, oh my goodness, they're making so much money. You know, in various things, you hear it and you're just like, oh, my poor person mind is like, my God, blown away. And then you just work backwards and you're like, oh.
Oh, there's 40.
No one's making loads of money. It's like, so, it's really difficult because like in that respect, transparency can be like damaging.
Yeah.
You know, you hear a big number and you're like, but then you don't know how much satellite time is and this is and event cost and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Who knows what the answer is?
Yeah, who knows what the answer is?
Not me.
I certainly don't either. I just love biking and just want to hopefully aim towards a point where everyone's happy and there's cool events.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought you were about to announce the start of your slopestyle career. I just love biking and I just hope that next year I'm going to...
Yeah, I might just try and enter a couple just for shits and giggles.
So you're going all out for... the full slopestyle season.
I'm going to try to,
Wicked. Rampage again.
Hopefully, if I get invited back.
Hell yeah, I'm sure you will.
Oh, so that's how you're left, of course, yeah. Top 8, automatic invite.
Not this year.
No, that's what was that is what happens normally. Top 8 get an auto invite, but you fell just outside the top 8, so...
Oh, well, outside that top 8, all of it.
I was trying to be polite.
I came last at every slope. I literally came last at every slope event.
Did you really?
Yeah. I crashed every single one this year.
Okay, so there's some things to learn from that, right?
I came fourth in the overall last year, then came last in the overall next year.
It's how it happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's full slope, full. What other events?
I'm gonna try and do the national whatever it is called.
Okay, so that's
selection one.
So that's a big bike. So we're moving more towards more.
I think
bikes?
So. Yeah,
Wicked.
I'm enjoying it more. And obviously slope is quite a young man sport, and I'm the oldest one there now by quite a way.
Really?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
Are you really? It's that skincare, dude. You look. I thought you were 28.
I think the next person, I think, might even be Nikolai now, potentially, or Max Fredriksson, one of the two.
How interesting! Yeah. And have you got a vision for what else next year, or
see what comes? I'll take it as it goes. Yeah.
It's quite exciting, really, though, isn't it? It's really sick.
Yeah. If I end up not doing slope next year, so I could drop. Like if there's a half a good chance I could drop off the tour, and then I'll be going back to the gold events, and I'm probably not going to want to be 500 gold events to try and chase points to get back to Crankworx.
Yeah. You have to do a Bernie. Go to Indonesia and all these wild places trying to get points.
Yeah, literally is like that, yeah.
You got to go and get them back.
But then there's way more UCI races that they could go to. Like there'll be 4 gold events potentially next year.
So only the gold events will give you points.
Enough points to make it valid.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
But then if I'm like done half the Crankworx series, then I've got to go do 4 gold events, and then I've got national. I can't pronounce it.
Natural selection.
That one. Yeah.
I haven't even seen like the release on that yet. So
I think it seems to have just like drip fed a few little bits out. I feel
and then Rampage, I'll be doing 12 events. It'll be quite taxing.
A lot of travel.
Yeah.
Innit?
Well, mate, huge congratulations on an amazing rookie year at Rampage. I think you absolutely killed it, and I'm super excited to see next year what you can do, because I want to see an Isted top to bottom run.
Yeah, I think quite a few people did. It'd be quite nice.
We got a bunch of listener questions. Should we rattle through some of those as well?
Let's do it.
That cool? They're on the phone.
I've actually got a question for Ollie.
Please.
On the other end of it, do you actually think, say, all the uproar that happened with Bren's line and the scoring and everything?
Yeah.
Do you think there would be as much of an uproar if, say, Tommy G rode that line and got that score? Do you think it was such an uproar because it was Bren? Do you think because he's got such a cult following, and he has got an insane following, do you think there would have been as much of an uproar?
Do you know all of the uproar? All of the uproar is
great question, by the way, Tom.
Nonsense, because at no point did any of us ever say anything, essentially. So we built a line that obviously everyone's building a line.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to do the best they can, and you just build a line. And honestly, the score, I've never cared about the score, and I can really truly say that it's like
the worst thing that I've seen is people trying to reference the scores from the previous years.
Awful.
Don't. And it doesn't even matter if the scores don't get past the 50.
I'm not into
it. Makes no difference. It's literally just a ranking where people think they've scored. And I don't think it should have been that low.
Truly, but say I don't. I can't. You can't focus on the score, because imagine how weird it'd be. Like, I think building a line trying to appease something that, because I don't know what you're meant to even do. So all you've got to do is build a line that is what you think Rampage is.
Yeah.
So and what in everyone's defence, Brendan, Deeks, and I didn't think. Probably Deeks did, actually. He's a loudmouth, but I didn't care about the score at all. Didn't feel hard done by. All of the hype wasn't created by anyone saying anything. It was created by the people watching.
Yeah.
And then
we still won People's Choice Awards.
Yeah, but then the reaction afterwards, any negative reaction, is reacting to the people. What the people have said, not to what Brendan
said. It's like a weird echo chamber.
Dude, so weird. And it's so horrible to see that side of the internet. And like, you see it so often, and you're away from it.
Yeah.
But like, to see my best mate have, he was really, that was like a really hard 2 weeks of work. And then he's the opposite to you. He's so scared. I've never seen him more scared. This is a line that he's trying his very hardest.
Yeah.
And then to have all of this nonsense come out and people picking, I actually just turn phone off. I don't look at any of it because it's not for me, that stuff.
I try not to read comments.
Horrible negativity is not my scene. I just think you just see the ugly side of people. But like, to make those comments, you've got to be willing to take them back for yourself. So
with that sort of stuff, I don't listen to anyone unless it's someone who's at a similar level to the person who's done the thing. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like one of your peers.
Yeah.
If it's some random person, I'm not like, okay, you've got nothing to reference.
But the scoring, I just feel lame talking about it.
Yeah, I just wish they didn't do the 94. I think they just went first.
How would you score it?
I haven't actually really watched it back properly.
No, I don't mean that. If you were to redo the judging,
I would have. How they're doing it? One thing I would do for Rampage is I should tell Todd about it. So they do it like I do in skiing. Is the judges are in separate booths. They don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
They can have an overhead judge who can stand behind and go, okay, you're being silly or something like that sort of thing. But I wouldn't have the 95s. I'd literally just be first place, second, third, like in the slotted orders.
Yeah.
So people can't try and pick off from the year before and like try and reference stuff. That's the place they got. It doesn't.
I think this is similar to your idea. Is that right? With the blocks, you just move people around.
Yeah, I just think that I
visually that looks nicer.
I think visually that's nice, and I think also having everyone mic'd up, because when you speak to, again, we get lumped in. People think that we're like haters or whatever. Like the judges will be thinking, oh, they've caused so much hoo-ha. They're all friends. They're all friends and have utmost respect for all of them, and like speak to them and all of that. And like, if you had a conversation one-on-one and someone goes to you, this is why.
Yeah.
It's like, you wouldn't have, it wouldn't be like.
Yeah.
So, I would say all of the internet reactions.
Half things that was said, if they were stood in front of me, they wouldn't have been said anyway.
Yeah.
If they were stood in front of the judges, they wouldn't have said it either.
It's seemingly, the amount of hot air around Rampage is more hot air than ever.
Actually at Rampage.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. That's quite good, actually, yeah. But, so I can't even remember what the question was.
I feel like from the outside looking in and watching your episode you did with Bren, it feels like the bit that he was probably most hurt by, or whatever you'd call it, is that the people there were telling him how good of a line it was, and then it felt like,
and it's really true.
Yeah,
and I see
a bit of a kick in the nuts of
I don't know whether they were looking at what he did previous years, because obviously he did miss things that he did do the previous year. Obviously that top bit was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised he didn't go off the step down on the top though. After seeing him go to,
I think we just got the wrong idea.
Yeah,
I just thought it was more about your own line, and I thought you get.
I feel like that top. I feel like top bit was kind of like, that's what you got. Everyone's going to ride that.
Yeah,
I think that they didn't really judge that differently to anyone else's. I think that's the start bit. Especially when I saw him doing the flip drops at Sea Dogs. Yeah, I definitely thought he was going to go off that one that I went off into that catch berm and then dropped in. Yeah, but obviously he wanted to go his own way.
You see, I definitely think as well, you see a bit more sort of snakiness from people, because I'm there objectively. Obviously it's my best mate, but I promise I'm not like dragged along in the hoo-ha. And you see people say one thing and say another, and it is creepy. You sort of know, when there's that much hot air, people act weird. I don't want anything to do with that. I can't imagine being a judge, being like a rider, any of it's so gnarly to me. It's not. It's like, that makes me want to move to a desert island. That stuff. People turn hot and cold so quick. One moment they're all over you. You're the best. And then the next they're.
Yeah, it's gnarly, isn't it?
I don't see the comments, but I get sent them and stuff.
Oh, really?
And it's just like really shocking. Yeah. Really shocking. Some of the old snakiness is really shocking. So. Yeah, I think the best you can do is just shut up. Who cares?
The best you can do is the best you can do.
Yeah, which we're super stoked. It was a shame actually, because it was such a fun thing. We had such a good build up, and like having you there and having you in the same part of the hill was wicked, because normally you don't speak to people as much, and English Euros I think are a bit uncool.
English banter's very English banter. Not many people can take it.
Yeah, and I think it was really fun year. Really like. Fun people out there, and then you just had a bit of a sour ending, like
a little bit,
so big up Bren, killed it.
Yeah, big up. Speaking of bigging up, Valenta Gran sent in a listener question. That's my New Zealand accent. How do you rate the food at Rampage?
It was quite funny.
Any pasties?
No pasties, annoyingly. But the first week was fine. Like, I was happy to eat all of it. And then when the media lot all turn up for the second week, the food got really, really, really good.
Did it?
That was surprisingly, don't know why that happened. A bit odd. But, yeah, it was really nice. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
A few weird selections.
Oh, yeah.
Like we had croissants, one lunch, with coronation chicken and grapes inside. That was weird.
That's different.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a
that's the one that I can remember that was very odd.
Oh, that was banger. I was all about that.
I couldn't do the grapes. Took the grapes up, put some like lettuce in, and then I was down. But the grapes just were like, why?
Dude, Deeks has made food reviews just like he's normalised them. It's brilliant. I've got here, I like this one. This is kind of sort of the vibe of the whole podcast, but Chris Lenzai said, how does it feel to go from flipping 2-foot spines in Mount Hawk to world records?
It's a very aggressive arc on a periodic table, I guess. It just ramped up very good.
Yeah, it really got out of control quite quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
There you go.
This is a great one as well. Dave.Braining. What is more profitable, big bike or FMB?
I don't know, because it's all one merged thing for me, so I don't know.
Okay. If you were to guess. I'm joking, dude.
It makes no difference.
Oil at 91. Would you ever consider a pasty filling that wasn't OG?
Ooh.
Depends on the filling.
Coronation. Coronation pasty.
They do some wacky ones. You know Philps? They do some wacky ones, don't they? They do some like crazy.
The one I have had
all sorts.
that was a bit odd, but I did quite enjoy it, was a sweet, like a curry one. It was like a sweet potato
I'd like
curry filling in a pasty. That was quite nice.
There's the answer. That's not that OG, but that's
that's
a real Cornish man admitting that he's had.
Yeah,
Ginsters do like a.
No, don't talk to me about Ginsters.
You can't.
They're not pasties.
No, I'm just going to give you an example of a filling.
No.
Okay, well,
you can give me.
He will literally be.
They are not.
Cornish,
they do a Bombay potato one. It's really nice.
I can't believe you've
but
done
they're
that.
not pasties.
Okay,
they're not pasties.
I do the thing
hold him back. Hold him back.
Holding back. Oh dear.
Okay.
I live very close to that factory. They're not. They're literally Cornish pasties because they're in Cornwall, but they're not made by anyone from Cornwall.
No.
It's such a. The one thing that's very funny with Gangsters is the Gangster factory is here on the road, and there's a Tesco's down the road. Literally, you could throw a rock and hit it, and they would have to ship their pasties from Gangsters to their distro in Ipswich or something. They're like, and then back to that Tesco's, even though it's next door.
That's not on, is it?
Just funny.
We know a company like that, but we'll not talk about them. How did you feel comfortable with riding a size S high travel bike at Rampage?
Looked pretty comfy.
Quite comfortable. Yeah. It was just, I had a medium at home and I had a small, and once I put it all together, the small was basically I built a bike as close to being my dirt jump bike as possible, but with big travel. That's the way I did it. I got the top tube length as close as I could, and just put a big suspension on it.
Perfect. And went at 30 miles an hour down a shot out of a cannon. I've got one from Joel_Anderson.
Never heard of him.
Interested. You should try and follow him and see what he's up to. Do you need bolts on the steering mechanism of a buggy?
You do, yes. That's a good story behind that. So we picked up our buggy from the rental company. They dropped it off to the Rampage site. We drove around the corner, take some pictures and do some bits and bobs with it, and just YouTube-y stuff. Connor grabbed the front wheel and just gave it like during like a dad kicks the wheel of something. He did that. He went donk. He was like, grabbed it, conk, conk, went round on the underside, and the steering rack wasn't bolted on at the bottom. Bottom link of the suspension had a bolt but no nut. On the other side, there was just I think it just had bolts, no nuts. So like the whole front end was not attached pretty much. That was really brilliant. So drove that back, literally like crept it back to thing, rang them, you need to come fix this. But it's one of those ones, like it's a rental company. They told me 4 or 5 times when we picked it up, we've gone through this, we've gone through it, this is perfect. So got back to got there and I was like, it's just like, it's like imagine picking up a rental car, they haven't done the wheel welts up and it's your fault the wheel falls off.
Yeah. Might have been just trying to throw you under the bus.
But if we hadn't spotted it and the wheel had fallen off, I would have ended up with a massive bill.
Yeah.
Because it's fallen off when I had it, not because the bolts aren't in there.
Gnarly. Yeah. At Alex_Isted.
My brother.
There you go. Are you going to open an online store to sell merch?
Potentially I would like to, but it all depends on.
Is there inside knowledge? Like,
no.
Okay. I feel like he
actually wants to know.
He just actually wants to buy some.
Basically,
merch
he had a clothing company when he was younger, well, a few years ago, and tried to get me to ride for them. But when I was on another company, so I couldn't do anything.
Okay.
He's like, "We'd love you to do it because you'd be the perfect person to do it." So he knows it would work for me to do it, but I'm quite busy.
Yeah, quite busy.
There you go, brother.
And as you know what it's like, and as Ollie knows, it's quite hard to send t-shirts.
Yeah. It's out of control quick. Robert MTB, when are we getting the Isted Invitational /UK Darkfest?
When I can find £500,000 to put it on, that'd be nice. It's about the price tag, I think.
Really, you reckon moving that dirt? It's going to be a lot.
UK issues, isn't it? It's not really. It's not like you're in South Africa when you can get away with things. It gets very expensive very quickly.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's very different here. It's annoying. Could do so many fun things.
Many fun.
So much red tape.
Yeah.
This is a great one. Bindav Greg. How does Tom feel about influencer culture in mountain biking? That's a great question. And I like that this person's put it's Bindav Greg at the start. It's
Yeah, he's sort of like, yeah, it's good.
Saying who it is and then the actual username.
It's in everything, so it's not really. It's just part of the current world, I guess. There's not really anything you can do about it. There is definitely some people you look at them and go, "How are you getting paid to ride a bike?"
I think also it has been forever as well. Right? Maybe not in biking though.
Yeah, but a lot of influencers have been around forever. It's always been a part of it. It's just, I guess, it's a little bit more. I guess it's a little bit more accessible with Instagram these days. Like, it used to be, the influencer would be football players.
Yeah, would have been how social media influencer is the thing that.
It's just a part of the modern world.
Yeah. Do you lean more into like YouTube and stuff? I mean, you obviously kill it on socials, but
I do it.
Yeah.
Just because it's part of the job now, I guess.
Okay.
It's not like it's the 2000s. You can get away with doing some World Cup races, and you've kind of got to be very rounded in everything. Yeah,
for sure.
Which I do say to most people these days, what do they need to do? Do everything.
Do it all.
Just even if you're just going to be doing YouTube videos with you and your mate, just start it.
Yeah.
You'll get better talking to a camera. You'll get better. You work out how to film stuff better straight away if you start doing it from a younger age. So just start.
It's fair.
People will moan at you until you start making money out of it. Then they'll go, "Oh, that's a good idea."
I've got an interesting one from I guess a guy who probably can do these tricks. Yeti de Sermok. The thing you did on the shark fin, does it feel more like a side flip or more like a back flip? I don't know what a side flip is, but
I'm guessing it means like a barrel roll. I'm assuming there's some kind of language barrier or something going on there.
Talk through what
the only way that
like.
the way I would describe it is I was doing a step down flare.
Really?
Like a BMXy flare. It felt the same as that, but just a step down flare. Yeah.
In my head, I'm so stupid. A flare you would land backwards.
Yeah, but obviously I'm doing 90 degrees. But on a BMX,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, so on a BMX, a flare is a backflip 180, obviously. But if you watch a lot of people do it, they'll take off at like a 45-degree angle and land at a 45-degree angle. So it's actually only 90 degrees you're turning. So pretty much, that's how I would describe it as a feeling.
Oh, that's a good overview. I like it.
What's the best feeling trick in the arsenal? It's the one you look forward to the most.
Depending on the bike, on my slope bike, doing the flat drop barrel rolls I do.
Yeah.
They feel amazing.
Really, yeah.
Because I basically like just skim my shoulder off the takeoff, which is sick. And then on a big bike, like front flip tricks, it's just so blind and confusing. It just feels fun. You're just leaning forwards for no reason. What's
the technique to a front flip? Is there any?
It depends on if you're doing trying to like on a shorter jump or trying to do a long jump. They're two very different front flip. So on like a step up style jump, you've got to like kind of pull back off the takeoff and be as tall as you can be as you take off, and then make yourself as small as possible.
Right.
To like snap the rotation forwards, and then just keep looking forwards and make yourself into a really small ball. Like most people when they try them, they basically go over the handlebars and put the handlebars in their lap like going to do a techno hander and stay there. You got to literally bring the handlebars to your head and bring yourself as small as possible to make it rotate.
Right.
So if you watch like Biembe's front flip on the 90-foot one at Darkfest, he basically doesn't tuck himself up at all. He's just looking forwards. He's straight legged, making it really long and slow.
Right.
So you can spot it and make it work.
I really like this question. Typical Park Rat has asked.
Quality name.
Yeah. How, like, this was one that I laughed at, and then I was like, actually, he's onto something here. How do you not get dizzy when doing competition runs? I genuinely watch your contest runs. If I do 360s in a row, I feel a bit dizzy.
Yeah.
And that I'm not doing twisters.
Yeah.
How do you get dizzy?
No. Because,
what am I doing wrong?
Because it's not that I'm not getting dizzy. It's because it happens so quickly. And then you land, and then you've got 5 seconds for the next. Oh, not 5 seconds, but a bit of time before your body can recalibrate. Basically, it's not like I'm doing it all one after the other. I am, but there's time to readjust. That's the best way to do it. Yeah, just something just to square you up again, I guess.
It's weird thought, like the inner ear, what's going on, like all those little hairs are going after a twister. They're like, whoa.
This is a good question. Can't quit cartel. How would you feel if someone rode your Rampage line?
Not. I wouldn't be upset, but I would probably be.
Really?
It's not upset, but I would be worried for them because when we're there, we've got medics everywhere. We've got heli set up to get people off the hill. It's all set up. If you just randomly went up the hill and rode it, you're taking a lot of risk. And what's the reward?
Yeah.
Apart from to say you've ridden the line.
If they picked out your run, you wouldn't be annoyed?
I wouldn't.
Out of all the people there?
I'd be like, fair play.
Definitely.
I'd be like, fair play for sending that
Definitely.
stuff.
Yeah.
It would be annoying the fact that like they haven't put the work in to do it and they've just piggybacked off you, but it's sat there. Like if you were walking through the woods and found a bike track that's on like just like a normal trail down the hill, oh sick trail, let's go ride it. It is that on just a massive scale. It's a little bit different, but I would be more I set up for the consequences if it does go wrong. And obviously on my line, there is some quite large consequences.
Yeah.
Consequences. Same with Bren's line. All the lines there's massive consequences.
So your thoughts?
Me?
Yeah.
He's going to plead the fifth.
No, I'd be so pissed off. I think I'd be so annoyed. Personally.
Okay.
I would. I just think it's
I got
like
asked this year.
the whole
I did get
point
asked
of
if
the
I would be
event.
annoyed by someone if they rebuilt my line. But it's like, you rebuild the line, are you going to rebuild it to the level that we had it? So when I come back next year, it's going to be sat there perfect for me to ride it? Probably not. It's more the risk. I wouldn't want to send someone, go, yeah, crack on, go for it, mate.
I just think it's a sort of respect thing, really. I think it would be like, it's not to say, it's not to say it's not impressive even, but I just think it's, I don't know. I've got big rules in my head. It's nothing to do with what's happened this year, but I would never, I would be trying to make someone look bad if I did that.
Yeah. I don't think it's well, the only person it's ever happened to is your team.
No, Brage.
Oh, Brage had one,
it.
yeah. But the main ones that people see
last
is...
year was old Rude Boy that...
did the battleship thing.
Yeah.
But it's mainly happened to your team.
Yeah, so it's like trying to take from something.
Yeah. But obviously mean you just build sick stuff and people want to ride it.
Yeah, and
it's not a bad thing. It's like people, oh cool, that looks fun, I want to go and ride it. And the people that have ridden it were at quite high level of riding.
Yeah, definitely. I just wouldn't do it myself.
No.
Like the rules in my head, I wouldn't have got away with.
Yeah, but again,
as a kid, I wouldn't have got away with it. Literally get rocks chucked at you. And
So
now on the biggest stage ever, doing it. And also, I think it's so sick, but then you make it not cool by putting it out. Like it's so cool that they were that into it, they wanted to do it, and then as soon as you put it out, you're just being an internet guy, aren't you?
Yeah, but I guess.
This is a weird one.
It's a weird. It's the ones that did it.
Very strange.
I guess the guys that did it this year, with your line.
Yeah.
I don't think they went down it the same route as the last person who did it. The last person who did it went a bit over the top. Had like full film crew there to film it. Where they were just, we want to go ride that. That looks sick.
And they're the real deal. They're great fun. They just don't. I don't think they quite get it. To be honest, I don't think it's like a evil attack or anything.
No. Just different.
Yeah.
Different way of looking at it.
It's hard because there's not many other like ways you can relate it back to other sports or anything. It's such a unique thing, isn't it?
Even skiing, you couldn't even relate it to skiing because the next year the power's going to be different. The whole thing's going to be different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is the only sport in the world that you could go and do that.
Yeah, it doesn't really work with dirt jumps, really.
No, I think you ruin your chances though, because I don't think you're allowed to really do it. So you end up ruining your chances of actually getting to do the event if that's what you were setting out to do, because you can't.
I don't know.
Out of event time, it's not. Like,
I don't know. Well, as Todd says, when we get there, no one owns the mountain. Well, one person does, and he lives on the hill and moans about the dust. But
yeah,
I guess it's still fair. I don't know. It's
a weird one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's not one, but fair play to them if they're gonna.
Don't have to worry about it.
No,
someone else has to worry about it now.
Cool. I'll steal it for next year then.
All yours, bro.
All right, let's do one more.
You could probably get Connor to move the rock. Actually,
Connor's not coming next year. Annoyingly.
What?
No, he said he doesn't want to do it next year. He said he'd do it for me for the first year, which I was so happy he did come for me. But I think he said if he was to go again, he'd go for Robin. He would do for Robin, which is fair enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, last question's off me. You're a success story coming from Cornwall, making it onto the biggest stage of mountain biking. Some advice for young people who would look up to you, who will want to learn something from the man who's actually accomplished it and done it.
I guess it's probably not the best thing to say, but just, if you've got a dream, put time in for it. And you got to deal with the process, and it will take time to learn to do it. You do get the odd success story that just steams to the top, but that definitely didn't happen for me.
No.
It was definitely a long process, but yeah, definitely enjoy it as well. Don't expect it to happen overnight, but definitely be willing to put the work in. And a lot of what I would say to a lot of people is learn to crash. And there's only one way to learn to crash, and that is to crash.
Nice.
Tom Isted, ladies and gentlemen. Big up. Thank you to everyone who helps support the podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Magic Mind. Thank you to everybody.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, Tom.
Peace and love.
Like and subscribe.
See you next time.
Mate, what an episode.
Brilliant. I thought you were really great, Davey.
Mate, and I thought you were even better.
Thanks, dude.
Better than normal.
Oh, cheers.
Hey, how about we tell our lovely podcast community to hit subscribe here.
Yeah.
Click on the video on Ollie's face.
That's right.
Click on the video on my face.
Yeah.
And follow us at The Ride Companion on Instagram.
They can like and comment as well.
Please do.
I'm going to try and get this energy, and I'm going to bring it into next week.
Let's fast forward to next week's episode.
Done.